Hey Board Game Maniacs, Maniac Rob here to bring you another exciting gameplay video. Now, what we're playing, as you can tell, I have the box in front of me. It's a board game called Lobotomy. It's by Titan Forge Games. It is a 1 to 6 player game. It got an age rating of 14 plus. In our channel, Board Game Maniacs, I did an unboxing of this video a while ago. So if you want to know what's inside the box, just go to that video. You can find it on our channel and you can watch the unboxing. But this here, what we're doing in this one is we are going to play, I think it's the first scenario. It's the Asylum Field Day. I could be mistaken. I have to double check the name of it. But it's pretty interesting. This whole game is very interesting, and I'm kind of saying it's slow because it's a very dark themed game, which I love dark themed. It is a miniature board game. Comes with miniatures also, cards and dice, specialty dice too as well, and a board obviously for playing a board game. It's a very interesting game. I played this 2 other times before and that's it. So this gameplay video that we're playing is kind of like a gameplay slash learning to play video. Now, this video, the learning to play video, you're going to help me play the game. So I'm going to play the game. If you played it more than 2 times and you know the rules, please comment down below into the comment section and let me know, hey, you made a rules mistake. Look on page so-and-so. And this is how I learned the game more, by you, the viewers. So one thing I like to say is this game, once I started researching it to play it, I found out that online there's actually a second revision to the rules. The first rules, they said that some of the rules did not make a lot of sense. It was a little difficult to follow, so they made a revised version of the rules. The rules we're playing for this game is a revised version too as well. Now, I went to BoardGameGeeks.com, I think the website is, and I just typed in Lobotomy board game. It brought me to the site, to that page I should say, and you scroll down and there's a revised rule set and also the revised scenario set, which I'm also using too as well. So you can click on that on Board Game Geek. Just Google Board Game Geek and you'll be able to find it. And you can find too as well. Also too as well as somebody, I think it was Jeff, I'm not 100% sure of the name, so if I get the name wrong, please, I apologize. They made like filing cabinets. So this game is played on a board and it is 2-dimensional except for the doors and the miniatures. So somebody made a program. It's like a PDF you can print off and then you can cut them out. It's filing cabinets which you use to search in the game, which you will see as we play along. And you can set them up. I printed them off, but I didn't have time to assemble them. They're very simple to assemble, but I didn't have time to assemble them to include them in this game. But I did use the 3D doors. You can kind of see part of the board here. So you can see here's a 3D door. We will go over it in detail, close up too as well. I'm going to show you the setup of the board. We're going to talk about the scenario that I picked, the characters I picked, and everything else too as well, so that we understand together what makes up Lobotomy and how to play this game. Now, the 2 times that I played it, I'm sure I had rules mistakes, but it was an incredible amount of fun. I played it once by myself, and then again I played it with 3 other Board Game Maniacs too as well. So again, this board game is a 1 to 6 player, so you can play a solo game if you want. Now, the one thing about the solo game that I read into the instructions is that you still have to have 3 characters. So pretty much if you're playing a solo game, you're going to control 3 characters, or you can control 4 or up to 6 characters. It is up to you. It also has an expansion too, as I'm starting to ramble a lot because I want to play this game. I've been looking forward to shooting this video. It has one expansion that I know of. It's called From the Deep. Now, I don't have the expansion set up and so forth, but I'm going to play that From the Deep later on in another video. But right now, I just want to concentrate on like one of the first scenarios, getting down the rules with the revised set and everything else so that both of us can learn together, and it's going to make the gameplay go a lot more smoother. Now, again, it has 60-minute plus for gameplay is your average. Now, because we're going to be shooting the video and we're going to be looking up rules and everything else, it's going to probably be longer than 60 minutes. So you can certainly sit down and watch it from start to finish, or you can skip through to the parts that you like. In either case, I'm one of the patients in the mental hospital, and I don't want to be lobotomized, so I'm going to run away from the orderlies and the warden and everything. Let's see if we can escape it in the game Lobotomy. This is the scenario that we're playing. It's called Asylum Field Day. So this is what it looks like in the book that you get with the core box set. But also, like I said, I printed out the rule set, the revised scenario, as well as the revised rules that we're going to be following. But they're very similar, so I'm just going to go off of this one just to read so everybody can kind of understand what it is. So the Asylum Field Day, it says, objective, a set number of monsters to defeat, items to find, and memories to regain. Setup, no particular setup. Prepare a pen and a sheet of paper to count the objects or use dice to mark your progress. So the rules: defeat scavengers, number of players +1. So again, with the solo game, you at least have to play 3 characters. So I have to defeat 4 scavengers, and I have to defeat 4 patients. I have to defeat 3 nurses. I have to find item cards in lockers, number of players +1, so that would be 4 item cards. And I have to pick up memory tokens, number plus number of players. So pretty much, I'll show you what the memory tokens are. So I have to pick up 4 memory tokens too as well. And next scenario triggered. So in the instructions, what it tells you to do, like this is the basic instructions for any scenario. You can change the difficulty level for each game you play, where if you're having a 1-player or a beginner game, I'm stumbling over my words here, you have 1 scenario to complete. Medium is 2, a little harder is 3, and advanced is 4. We're going to go over all of this more in detail as we come along, all the information when we're playing the game. But just for everybody to know that's watching, we are playing the beginner with only 1 scenario. We're not going to reenact the second scenario. But if so, you can see right here, it says, next scenario trigger. Start the next scenario when 3 out of 5 objects are finished. But we're not going to do that. Special events. So there's Surge Green, 1 point of progress in one of the objectives chosen by the player is cancelled. Example is 1 scavenger. So whenever you draw the movement card, and if it has a green star, that means you have to follow this, and so on for the blue and for the red. So for the blue, 3 points of progress in any number of objectives chosen by the players is cancelled. That's really bad. And the red surge, during your next turn you cannot progress any object. That's not good too as well. So if I get a red star on the movement card, I can't progress any object. So if I kill another scavenger, I just can't add it, and going on and on and on and surge. Now in the instruction book too, so it tells you the rarity of when you would run into a green, a blue, and a red star or surge, a red, blue, or green surge. It gives you the odds, like there's 1 in 20 and so forth. So if you're not sure, you can look up in the rule book for that too as well. But that is what I'm playing, is Asylum Field Day, and I am playing a 1-player game, so it's 3 characters. Just look over here for the revised version of it. It says there's no special setup, you just need a pen and paper, which it does say in the other one. Ongoing symptoms. The Asylum Field Day, you need to complete 5 separate objectives that scale to the number of characters playing Lobotomy. So them 5 separate objectives is the same as like for these rules right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, scavengers, patients, nurses, item cards, and memory tokens. This is scavengers, mental patients, nurses, item cards, and memory tokens. So that's all the same. So number of characters +1, same as the other. Number of characters +1 is the same. Number of players, or number of characters, that is the same. Number of characters +1 for the locker is the same. And number of characters +1 is for the memory token. So the difference here between this list and the list in the book here is that it says number of players, but it's worded here a little differently. It's number of characters. So that's the only difference so far that I can see. I did print it out in grayscale, so this didn't come out in color, but that's your green surge, your blue surge, and your red surge, and they're all the same too as well. So complications, now it didn't really say specifically about complications into the printed book, so I'm just going to go over that. So complications, during the next round the player cannot record progress in any, that's for the red surge, I'm getting behind myself I should say. Complications, start the next scenario when 3 out of your 5 objectives have been completed. So they call the complications in this, but into this here, just different wording. It says next scenario triggered, so it's complication, so the same thing. So also it says prior treatment in here. None needed, as the objectives already scale in this number of characters in the game. So that there just means like how many characters you're going to have in the game is going to equal the amount of objectives plus 1 and so forth in this. So that's all what that means, no big deal. And suggested treatment. Defeat the required number and type of monsters and regain memory. So pretty much kill all the monsters here and get your memory tokens and you're going to win the game. And that's how you win the game for Asylum Field Day. There's a look at the table and the game board all set up. So I have all of my monsters. Don't judge me because they're not painted yet. I have so much painting I'm doing. This is on my list, honestly. I said that in the unboxing video and it's still true to this day. I am going to paint these. It just takes time. One thing about these miniatures is the detail in a lot of these miniatures are incredible. I'm excited to when I do paint these. As you can tell into the unboxing video, I say the same thing. But, like, look at him. Look at Frankenstein's monster. Really cool detail. So anyhow, you're probably not going to use all of the monsters that I have set up on the board, but when I played the first 2 games, I didn't have all the monsters set up, and I needed to go in and dig in the box and find the other monsters that I need. So I just set them all up. It's going to save me some time. A little bit extra time for cleanup, no big deal. But that is the monster set up. Let's go over the characters in which I chose to play this scenario. First character I chose is L&D Ridley. You know who she looks like. I'm not going to say, but you know who she looks like, who it's taken off of. Anyhow, this is the first player token too as well, but it's only me playing with the 3 characters, so I don't need to worry about keeping track and passing this around. But if you are playing with other people, what you do is there's a first player that gets his token, and then after the movement phase and you do the everything for the monsters, this goes to the next player that's in line and they become first player, and it just keeps moving so on and so forth. That's for the first player token. But anyhow, L&D Ridley. So L&D Ridley's case became a nuisance after she claimed multiple alien abductions. However, mutilations proved to be self-induced and no trace of implants was ever found. Currently treated for, I'm not even reading my glasses here, we'll get close in there, caprice, delusions, and psychosis. So that's what she's being treated for. Mental disorder, she has aggression, phobia, and anxiety neurosis. Certain equipment is a crowbar. So we're going to go over what this is during the gameplay. This takes a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll look it up in the rules as we go along. And that is where you put the wounds for her. Let's go over what all these icons mean. So this is her imagination, so 7. So sometimes she's going to do a test where she has to do an imagination test. And to do an imagination test, you take 2d6, you're going to roll it, and you have to get that number or lower to succeed. If you don't succeed, you fail, and you have to follow what it says in the card if you fail. Sometimes it's nothing, sometimes it's bad things. Next is your defense. She has 1 shield defense. So whenever she's fighting against a monster, and just say a monster rolled 2, well, 1 is automatically removed because she has a defense of 1, so she'd take 1 wound. Next is the crossing swords. That is her attack. So she would get 5 dice to attack, 5d6s. The next is wounds, 7, so that's self-explanatory. She got 7 wounds. And 4 with the green arrow, that is her action point. It's not movement. action points are broken up into different things that you can do during the game, which you will see as we go along. I'm not going to go in detail and explain that, but you'll pretty much catch on very quickly. So let's look at Monster's Mother. So this is just her special ability that she does. Everybody has different ones. So for Monster's Mother, choose a type of a basic monster at the beginning of the game. You can leave spaces with monsters of that type on them and gain an extra die against them. When you die, place one such monster on the space you died on. 2 if you've chosen mental patient. So pretty much I can choose a monster that I want to fight or that I can escape from, because when you're in combat in the game and there's a monster on your space, you can't leave that unless you have a special ability saying that you can do that. So I'm going to choose the Scavengers for the basic monster. Now every monster has different ratings. This is a basic monster, the Scavenger. I'll show you what the Scavenger is in a second. So I choose at the beginning of the game as a Scavenger. You can leave the space with the monster of that type on them and gain an extra die against them. So Scavengers, I can move and I can get an extra dice for my attack if I want. So I'm choosing Scavenger. And just to show you these puppies right here, they're very thin and lanky and scary looking. They're the Scavengers. They have 3 movement, 2 movement, 2 action points, sorry, and 3 wounds, 5 defense, or not, I mean 5 attack and no shields. And you can see here, the reason why, because these are plentiful in the game, they come up a lot sooner or more often than others, and they have action points of 2 instead of other monsters like the mental patient only has a 1 action point. You can see with the arrow right there. That's why I chose these guys. And this is only based on my 2 games experience that I played before. For the cards or the extra abilities that I gave L&D Ridley, I'm just going to call her Ridley. I chose Mother's Rage. Now with this here, it shows a +1 to attack rolls, gain fire or flame, and an extra dice. Now I'll explain to you what all of this means as we go along instead of going over here and then having to explain myself again and again and again. Well, that's how I learned, but I'm not going to do that. So pick that. Another one is the utility I picked was Lucky Star. Choose a monster in 2 space range. It loses 1 wound, ignore defense, and you recover 1 wound. And it has a cost of 1 action point. So whenever you see cards that has this symbol and a cost, it means to perform this or use it, it's going to cost you 1 action point. And I also will explain as we play the game what the numbers on the sides of the cards are for too as well. So the next one that I have is called Hydrophobia. It's kind of a little reflective there. I hope you can still see it. It is an attack, while this one's utility, and that's an attack. And it's using 6 dice. Got a range of 2, and you also have frozen or frostbite onto it. Again, I'll explain that is later on. Attack each monster in range and line of sight. Your attack becomes 5 from this attack. Recover 1 wound after attack. So that's pretty good. So also too as well is you have memory cards down here, and these are 2 other special ability cards that Ellen has, but I chose these 2, and I left these 2. Later on during the game, you can flip this over. It'll instruct you to flip them over. And also, it has here, I read, as starting equipment. There's a crowbar. Sorry for the crowbar. So with the crowbar, you use 5 dice. The cost is 2 hammers and 1 action point. So to use this, it costs 2 hammers and 1 action point. Remove a door token from your space. So instead of rolling to try to discover, you can just use this and get rid of doors. So you can see on the bottom here, it has a hammer and a 6. What that means is, after you use this weapon 6 times, it's no more good and it has to be discarded. So that is the total amount of times you're able to use that weapon. Here's a quick shot of the miniature for Ripley, or Ridley I should say. Ripley is her name in Aliens, but Ridley is in the game. So really nice looking miniature. I kind of show a little more detailed shots into the unboxing video that you can see, but that's Ridley. The next character I choose to use is Arnie Connors. And we all know what he looks like. So, Arnie Connors was raised in a pathological environment of poverty and street gangs. To survive, he developed a disconnective persona, a cybernetic android disguised as a human being. I wonder who this is supposed to be of. We know who it is. His criminal record does state that he is, in fact, a killing machine. Whoa. So in the mental institution, or the mental hospital, he killed a lot of people. That's why he's in the mental hospital. So his mental disorders is aggression, anxiety, neurosis. Starting equipment is club, and you can see his brain chart right here. Nerves, this is his special ability. Lose 1 wound and gain 1 action point once per turn. So his ratings, 5 imagination, 2 shield, so he's a little tougher than Ridley, because Ridley only has 1 shield. 3, he has to roll a 3 for his fighting, so it's a lot easier to hit with him. 11 wounds, he's like a tank, and he's got 2 action points. And also too, as well as for the cards that I picked for him, with Shockwave, it's an attack, and it's 7 dice with a range of 1, or this is a multi-angle with 4 dice and a range of 1 for each enemy. I'm going to go over all these symbols as we come along into the game. Next one I choose is Chop Chop. It's an attack. It's 6 dice, critical strike, or multi-range or multi-angle 4 dice for each enemy critical strike. Critical strike. I have to really look that up to remember what it is, but if I'm recalling properly, critical strike is if you roll a 6. I don't know what happens. I will look that up and explain it. For critical strike, if you roll a 6, it gives 2 damage instead of 1. That's what critical strike means. There's also things like holy symbol and so forth, which we will go over, obviously. And this is the club, which is the starting item. It's 5 dice that you have to roll. Every successful 3 is a hit. So you may lose 1 hammer to add 1 die even after the attack roll. So again, after 5 times, this is done. So again, this counter, just so we can go over this, this is pretty much when you use one of these abilities, you're going to place it on the highlighted area. And then your next turn, you put it on 3, 2, and 1, but you can only use it once. And then when you get back to 1 and you take off the marker, then you can reuse the ability again. So it's kind of like a rest point in between. A quick note about the cooldown track. So when you use one of these abilities, like I said, you're going to place it there and then you have to wait till it goes down. So you would pretty much wait 4 turns and then you're able to take it off and use this ability. Now, it comes into place with the cool for your insanity track. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you see here it says a +1 CD or a +2 CD. CD stands for cooldown. So when you are here and you use one of your special abilities, such as like your Shockwave or Chop Chop or what have you, and you're here, that means that you have to place it here. So it's going to take longer for you to be able to cool down to use the weapon again, or your special ability, I should say. So when you're on your 5, which is a +2 cooldown, so you're going to be here, so it takes extra longer. So usually it's 4, but then if you go insane, it's, you know, 6 and 5, so you get extra ones. I'll explain that more as we go along during the game. Anyhow, so he also has what's called Blinding Aurora. It's a defense and it's a cost of none. So this round, monsters attack and you must reroll each success that is not a 6, so it's pretty cool for that one. And he also has the starting weapon, like I said, the club, which I already went over. So that is his Arnie Connor, I can't even say it. And he had his memory cards, which we'll explain to as well. So that's Arnie Connor. Let's go on to the 3rd character, but first I'll show you his mini. Here's a look at Arnie Connor's mini. He's wearing shorts, ripped shorts, I'm assuming, and he's all jacked up, he's all full of muscles, he's got some wristbands on. This is going to be pretty cool to paint this guy. See, he's all muscular and he's ready to kill. Kill, kill, kill! The last character I chose in my 3-character solo gameplay for Lobotomy is Bernard Smith. So Bernard Smith became a con artist early in his life. He has made a hobby of breaking out of jail. When at large, he goes on violent crime sprees with no regard to eluding the law enforcement. So, you know, I don't care if I'm going to cut, I'll just escape again. Transferred to Asylum after all hopes of reconciliation was lost. So he has aggression, OCD, and he has broken glass for a starting weapon, which is right here with 5 dice. You may modify the result of 1 die by 1, which is really good. And then it has the hammer of 5. So after 5, this weapon is no more good. His special ability is Ex-Con. You can leave spaces with monsters on them for 2 action points. And that is his rating, 6 imagination, 1 shield. He got to roll 5s for success. He got 9 wounds and 4 action points. So he can move a little bit better. It's not too bad. For his cards that I chose is Street Smarts. It's a utility. Cost is none, so I can use it even when I got no more action points. Recover 2 wounds, or remove a door token from your space, or automatically pass a search test. Draw 2 cards from a single inventory deck. Put 1 in your inventory and discard the other. Hit and run. It's an attack. So gain 2. You can see that there if it's in focus. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, so gain 2 range and an extra die. And this here utility is ambush, and it costs 1. You can see the cost is right there. 1 action point for the cost. Move 1 space in any direction and stun all monsters on the space you arrive on. So what is a stunned monster? So with this one, if I use this and I move into any space that monsters are in, I'd lay the monster down so they're stunned, which means they can't attack you on their turn. But if you have any action points left, you can attack, and they can't use defense to defend against it. So whatever you roll, if you roll successes, is bam, just hits. That's the Bernard Smith Mini. Looks pretty cool too as well. I'm still trying to figure out what movie he's from. Something's telling me it's Pulp Fiction. It's Bruce Willis's character. I could be wrong. If anybody knows if it is or who he's modeled after, please just comment down below in the comment section and let me know, because I would love to know. Here's a closer look at the board that I have set up here. So with each scenario, it does tell you, you know, like some of them you have to use certain quadrants or quarters. So this is a section. You can see it's divided. You have the square, and then each of them is quarters. So you have A quarter, B quarter, C quarter, and D quarter. So how I set this game up, now that's a good question. So first off, when you are playing the game, you have to follow the basic setup, and then before you go into the scenario that you're picking, or that you randomly drew, whatever one you can pick through, whatever scenario you want, or you can randomly pick 1 or 2 depending on the difficulty level that you want. But how do you set this board up? So you set it up, I set it pretty much any way I want. This is the starting point. They're in their cells, or their padded rooms for the characters, or the patients I should say. And the way this is set up, you're going to pick your quarters and you put them together. And then after you do that, you are going to, now again, this may not be all in order, but this is how you set generally set up the board. So these are called memory tokens. So you take the dice, a D20 or D12 I should say, or you can use a D4 and a D12, and you roll it, and it'll tell you the first dice you roll is going to be what quadrant. That's why you can see all these dice. This comes with the game. I didn't add any extra one except for this D3. I bought that specialty for this game because sometimes you use D3. So anyhow, this is your D4. So you can see it has up to 4 onto it. So you roll it, and that will tell you what quadrant. So this says 4, so it'd be quadrant 4, or quarter 4 I should say. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4. So then you would take your D12, which is right here, and you would roll it, and it's 2. So it would be quarter 4, and it'd be the second space. So this is quarter 4, and then the second space you would find the 2, which is here somewhere. I can't see it. Oh, it's right there. and you would put it there. But I already had this all set up before I started playing the game. So that's one of the steps you would do for the memory tokens, and it's 2 per quarter. After you do that, you see I have these 3-dimensional doors. Do you need these doors to play this game? No, you don't. What's really great about Lobotomy is it gives you an option so that you can either use the 3D doors or you can use the flat doors. So they're very simple to put together. You can see the legs there and so forth. This is the flat doors. So one thing about this board game, and doing my research, everybody that has this game has said exactly the same thing. When you're setting down the doors and the cabinets, it's very difficult to make sure you find them all. And the reason why, where you would place them, if you can look, you can see the door icon there, and it's got a glow around it. So any door that has a glow, that would mean that you put one of the door tokens. Now each of these door tokens were randomly, they were shuffled and drawn. And the reason why you do that, because when you're exploring a door, you're going to flip this over and it tells you what you need to open it. Some are blank, some are locked, some are barricaded, and it tells you how many action points it takes to open that door. So I like to use both of them just because I like 3D boards, and I set that up. Do you have to use the boards like I said? No, you really don't. So, oh, I just knocked down this other door. So another thing, these are filing cabinets. So when you enter rooms, you can do searches as one action point. So you'd flip it over and then you would have to do what it says and you can get some loot. I'm not going to look at this because these are randomly drawn too as well. But you can see, barely see the glowing outline here of where you would put that. So there's like filing cabinets and there's cabinets. So that's a filing cabinet you can see there. And the cabinets are here. So same thing, you see the little faint outline, so you would set these up. So you'd go around the whole board and you would find all the doors and you would find all the cabinets and filing cabinets and you would set them up. That is another step that you have to do when you're setting up the game. Now, on top of that, what you would have to do is you're going to set up what you call the bodies, the dead bodies. So in the instructions, the basic instructions for the dead bodies, what it tells you to do is it's one dead body or one body marker on each quarter. So also too as well as you put them where it's highlighted. So it's very hard to see the highlights, but this is the lightest part on this quadrant, or this one, or this one. So I just randomly put it right there. One really good thing about this game Lobotomy is it's very randomized, which means that you can play the same scenario, but it's going to be set up differently. So, you know, it gives it a little bit of spice. So you can see here, I got all these set up too as well. So the next thing that you want to do for setting up the board is you're going to have to set up your characters. And these are all randomly set to as well. So what you would do is per quarter, again, you can see the quarter, I'm just trying to outline this on camera. It goes like this, and this is the quarter. So per quarter or per corner, whatever way you want to call it. It says quarter in the game book. So you would do the dice again, and you would roll to randomize. So I rolled for this one. I got the fourth quarter, which is D, and I got number 11 on the D12. So that would put there. And so this here is a scavenger, and this is a mental patient. So for every quarter, you put a scavenger mental patient. Again, this is for a solo play or a 3-player game. If you're doing 4-player game, you're going to have to add a nurse to each quarter and randomize it. It's all explained in the book for that, but for this, because it's solo with 3 characters, this is the way I had to set it up. So that's how you set up that part too as well. For the scenario, again, you can either, depending on the difficulty you're playing, we are playing the beginner, so it's only one scenario, you can randomly draw a card from the scenario deck or go through and pick one. And I just went through and I picked the Asylum Field Day. So it gives you a little bit of a basics of what the objective is and everything here. I already read through this into the book. So you can read this, look in the book and find the scenario Asylum Field Day, and it'll give you more explanation of this. And you can see these are the surges. So green, red, and blue, which I'll explain to you as well shortly. Like I said into the intro, The game is like 60 minutes plus to play usually, but this video is probably going to be a lot longer because I am learning the rules as we go along and I'm explaining them on camera, which takes longer to do. So just keep that in mind, that usually the game will take about 60 plus minutes. But we're learning here, so obviously it's going to take longer. After you have the game board all set up, what you're going to do is you're going to start setting up your characters and the cards and everything. So I already explained that I set up all the monsters so it's easier access, so I don't have to dig in a box or find them in bags or any way that I'm holding them. So you separate all the cards into movement cards. So movement cards are for the monsters. So when you flip this over, it'll tell you what stuff that has to be done, if it's an event happens, if the warden happens, or so forth too as well. And that's for the movement cards. You shuffle them and just lay them face down. This is the monster of all monsters, the king of monsters, the warden. So you can see he has 3 action points. Unsure about the amount of wounds. He has he has to roll 3s, which is really good for hitting you, and he has 3 shield. And he has various attacks. If we go across this, I will read this as we hit it. So the miniature is very impressive. As you can see, he's dragging a patient along with him. Like, he's pretty mean looking, that guy, for sure. I wouldn't want to meet him. But pretty much what you consider for the warden starting off is he's kind of like a clock. So you would start with quadrant A and quarter A, I should say, and you put him on 1, which is right here. So when you draw a movement card, if it has the symbol of the warden's head, that means he has to advance 1. So you would move him here. And you would keep moving him every time you draw 1 until you get to the 12, which is right here. Once you get to the 12, you're going to be starting in trouble because this warden is a very tough guy to beat. So then you would advance him to right there, which is the pentagon. So there's 2 ways of playing this game, which I'm understanding. You can pretty much, when the warden gets to the pentagon, you can say, okay, the timer's up, we lost. If you didn't feed all the objectives into the scenario. That is one way of playing it. So if you want to add more difficulty, then you could put the warden there, and then after that, the warden is not going to follow any tracks afterwards. The warden is going to move to find the characters and attack them and try to kill them. And as you can see from his card, he's a really tough guy to fight. I wouldn't want to fight him. So just for simplicity's sake of this game, and plus it'll take a little bit longer, once he reaches the pentagram, all the players are going to have 1 more turn, and then it's going to be game over. Now, if the game I find is a little shorter, that he reaches 12, and we don't finish all the objectives, then he may come out and attack us. We'll see as we go along. But that is the difficulty for that. One is that he reaches the pentagram in the middle of the board, game is over. Or number 2, he reaches the pentagram and then he starts going in to attack the characters and kill them. That is the second most difficult way of playing it for the warden. Could be more stuff in the book about how for the warden. I will double check on that, but as far as I know, that is the 2 ways for using the warden in the game Lobotomy. More on the warden is, if, just say your character is on a space and the warden can see you, obviously he's right there, he's going to move to your space and he performs an action which is called stomp. No matter what weapons, what defense or anything you have, he's going to hit you. Nothing's going to defend it. And if that's the case, you're going to use the skull dice, which is specialty dice, which are these guys right here. So if he stomps on you, you're going to have to roll it, and you're going to have to roll it twice. And you're going to have to take that many amount of wounds. So see, that's a +1. That's bad. But it's only skulls as far as I know. So you would take that many amount of wounds, and then as soon as he stomps on you, the warden's going to move for free to the next space, so he advances further and further. That is not a good thing, so you don't want this warden to stomp on you, so you want to try to keep away from this warden. I know we went off track a little bit, but I want to try to cover as much rules as possible before we start playing. So again, just to recap about the warden is, if you were here, actually just say that you were here, he's not going to be able to move out and stomp you. You have to be pretty much directly on the same space with him to stomp. So if you're here and you have no more action points and you can't move and it comes to the warden's turn, he moves up, then he's going to be able to stomp you automatically. That's how the stomp works. After you set up the movement deck by just shuffling them and placing them face down, you're also going to take the 5 different types of phobias, or well, not phobias, but mental disorders, that's what they're called. And you're going to shuffle them and put them face down. So you have anxiety neurosis, OCD, you have schizophrenia, you have phobia, and aggression. So when you look at your character cards, it tells you here, I'm kind of getting to character, setting up your character, but we'll go over this now too since I had this pointed out. So your mental disorder is aggression and OCD. So when you're setting up your character, you're going to take an aggression card and you're going to take an OCD card. That's if you are playing Bernard Smith. If you're not playing Bernard Smith, you will take whatever cards that it tells you to right there, and you're going to pick one out of how many is on this, and you're going to keep it, and you're going to put the back into the deck and shuffle them up. So you can see here, I chose the aggression card because I picked an aggression and I also picked an OCD card. But I like the ambush one that I picked. This was all random again, of course. So I put the OCD back, I shuffled into the deck. So that is your mental disorder. And also you're going to shuffle all of these cards and place them down. So all the weapon cards, all the equipment cards, and all the med cards too as well. You're going to shuffle them, and after you shuffle them, you're going to place them face down. But obviously, as you can tell, each character has a starting equipment, and you're going to have to find that and equip them to it. Depending on the scenario too as well, you're going to have some extra body tokens just laid into the side. These are 2 different types of markers. Now, you can use the red for wounds, you can use blue for like the damage on your weapons or so forth. It's up to you, or you can use both. The thing is that these are counters to keep track of everything, and you also have tokens that you use in different scenarios. So you can see like a holy symbol, that's for the vampires, and this is like for the frostbite too as well. So again, what if I use a weapon that has frostbite, I will explain to you then. See more doors, you can see the cabinets, and as well as the flat door tokens too as well. You also have, these are called memory cards. So these ones are the generic memory cards that each character can get when they're prompted to pick a memory card. You can see there, this is the memory token. It's tied in with the memory cards. So for the character creation, we'll go over that now on how you set up your characters. And this is pretty much the final setup that you have to do to play the game. I know it's a lot of setup, it's a lot to take in. But after you play the game once or twice and you organize your game board in the box or wherever you have it stored, it's going to be a lot quicker to have this set up. But initially it's a little daunting because it is a lot of setup, but it's well worth it. Trust me, you will see. For your character setup, so obviously you got your main character, you have your miniatures, which I already have set up on the board. So again, with your miniatures, when you set them up, you can set them up in any room that you want, but it has to be at the center, and that's where you set them up at. So for the character, setting up the character, again, you have your character cards. And then you have, these are your special skills. You get 4 of these per character, but you're going to either randomly draw 2 or pick 2 that you want, which I've done here. You can see it has the name of the character. So I place them there, and then this one, I already explained this, is this anxiety neurosis. So with Arnie Connors, he has aggression, anxiety neurosis. I picked the anxiety neurosis one that I picked randomly and I wanted to use. So that's how you set up that part. Now, your starting weapon obviously too as well, and your memory deck. So your memory deck, you have 5 memories for each character. They're specific because they'll have their name onto the other side of the memory. The rest, the other 5, is taken randomly from the memory deck over here. These are random memories, so again, this game is even made more random. So it can change the outcome every time you play it. So you have your 5 memory cards, and then you have the 5 random cards, which equals 10 for this too as well. So that's how you set up your character for that. So recap, I know I'm going a little fast here. You pick 2 special ability cards, The other two are turned face down, and you can pick them up during the game if it instructs you to do that. Pick your starter weapon. You got your miniature on the board. You got either one of your mental disorders, or you can have 3 mental disorders on your card, but you only pick one. You put the other 2 back and you shuffle them in the deck. Your 5 personal memory cards and your 5 random memory cards, which I already just went over. And that's pretty much it for the setup for the characters. Very simple. So one other thing I like to point out is when you pick up one of these memory tokens, you're able to draw from here, one of your memory cards. That's how you set up your characters for the game, and how you set up the rest of it to play the game. One other note I would like to add is the amount of items and skills that you can have for your character. You have 4 skills that you can have a total of. After that, you're going to have to start discarding. After the 4 skills are done, you can, not done, but aside from the 4 skills that you can have attached to your character is the maximum, you can have 6 item cards. That includes like weapons, meds, equipment, and so forth too as well. Some of them you can reuse, some of them you just use once and then they're gone. But that is it. So 4 skill cards max, 6 item cards max. I'm going to double check that in the book, but I'm almost certain that that's what it is. Just looking in the book too as well, where it says before you play, difficulty levels. Remember I said you can set the difficulty levels? One scenario, Paranoid Beginner, and it's 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay. Now again, this video is going to go a lot longer than that because it's more explanation, looking up rules and so forth. 2 scenarios, seemingly normal, 60 to 100 minutes. 3 scenarios, crazy hard, 120 to 150 minutes. 4 scenarios, insanely impossible, 50 plus minutes. So yeah, that's kind of like your difficulty level. So I don't know if I'm ever going to play the 4th scenario, depending on how well I get at this game, but we will see. We will certainly see. Let's get this party started. Yes, that's right. We're going to start the game now, finally, after all the explanations. Now, again, I've only played it twice before. I will probably make some rules mistakes. If I do and you pick them up, please comment down below with the page number for the instructions so that I can refer to it so I can learn the game even more. And again, we are playing with the revised rule set. I'm going to start off with Ellen Ridley. Now, she has action points of 4, so I can do up to 4 things with her, and then that is it. So what I'm going to do, you can see the door is open here. I'm stepping out for 1 action point, and then I'm going to flip the body over to search, which is action point number 2, and you can see it has this icon on it right here. That is equipment. I go over to my decks here, my deck of cards, and I find the equipment cards, and I flip the first one over, and I see what it is. It tells me evacuation plan. So you can get that in focus for everybody. Come on, there you go. Move 2 spaces in any direction. You can pass through locked and unrevealed door tokens. And you can see it has a hammer of 2. So after I do this twice, then it is no more good. I'm just rearranging the cards here just to give them some room. So that's what I got for my equipment because I searched the body. Once you search a body or a locker or a filing cabinet, it is gone from the game for good. 2 action points that she did. So the next thing, I have 2 more action points that I can do. So remember what our main objectives are. We have to kill some monsters and some objects and everything and so forth. So that was 1. I am going to try, I gotta get to kill some monsters here. So I'm going 3rd action point, 4th action point, and that ends Ridley's turn. I have to get 4 item cards out of a locker. Now, that is an item card, but the thing is I didn't get it out of a locker. I got it out of searching a dead body. So that don't count as one of my objectives, unfortunately. Next is Arnie Connor's turn, and he has 2 action points. He's pretty slow, but he has nervous, the ability lose 1 wound and gain 1 action point once per turn. So pretty much I get to do 3 things instead of 2 if I get wounded 1. But I don't want to do that yet. So what am I going to do here? So I got to think of my objectives and how I can achieve them. So this is kind of close. So I'm going out the door for 1 action point, and that's still the same square, and 2 action points, and Ernie Connor's turn is done. On to Bernard's turn. So Bernard has 4 action points. So what he's going to do is he's going to step out the door, that's 1. He's going to go in here for 2, and hello there, mental patient. I'm going to attack him. Bernard has a choice of how he wants to attack. So you can attack with a weapon and a whole bunch of other things. So he has his special skill, which is hit and run. He can gain 2 range and an extra dice. So this here's his special skill. But this attached, because it got the weapon icon, it means that you can pretty much attach this to any weapon that you want, that you have at hand. What happens if you don't have a weapon attached to your character? So I do have broken glass, but just say during the game I lost the broken glass and I have no other weapon. What you can do is you have a choice that you can still attack the monster with your fists. And if you're going to attack the monster with fists, you're going to roll 3d6. And again, you have to roll equal or higher than what your rating is for your attack. Now earlier on in the video too as well, I explained to you about what the hammer icons are for. I got that a little bit wrong. What this means is that when you're going to attack and you're using a weapon and you roll the amount of dice and add all your bonuses or what have you, and any ones you roll before you modify any of the things, you're going to put a hit or a damage marker onto your weapon. So anytime you roll a 1, you put a damage marker onto your weapon. And then when your damage markers equal the amount of damage that it can take, that weapon is no more good. I'm going to use my hit and run for sure, which is going to bonus out my broken glass. So instead of 5 dice, I get 6. And I got a range of 2. Now, like I said, I didn't really, if I was going to decide to use my broken glass, I didn't really have to go there. As long as I had the line of sight, which is drawing a straight line, I could attack the monster. But you can't do it through doors that aren't explored or opened. It makes sense. But because I'm using my broken glass, I'm going to get 6d6, and I have to roll 5 or higher for a successful hit. Woohoo! But I can also modify with my broken glass 1 die by 1. So I got a 6 hit. So this is the 4, but I'm going to modify this and I'm going to bring it up to a 5. So that's 2 successful hits so far. And as you can see, I have 1. I know I said that before doing any modifying, but it still don't matter. I rolled a 1, so I take 1 of my damage and I put it down here for my broken glass. So he only has 4 left that he can use, which, you know, it's gonna whittle you down for sure. But I also got to take 1 of my markers, and because I use my hit and run, I got to put it on there. So I have to wait 3 times until I can use it again. So this is kind of like I exhausted it for now. But anyhow, that was my 3rd action point. I get 2 successful hits. So let's look at the statistics for the mental patient and see if I killed him or not. With the mental patient, he has 4 wounds and 1 defense. So because I got 2 successful hits, technically I only got 1 successful hit because I got to take 1 of them off. So he takes 1 wound at least. There you go, mental patient. Don't bite me. Don't bite me. Hey, hey. There's 1 wound. So he has 3 more wounds left. So I got 1 more action point left. And Bernard is going to try to hit him again. Now the only thing is because he used his hit and run, he can't have the 6 dice again. He can only use the 5 because he have to wait till this is gone down. It's rested and he can take it off to use it again. But that's okay because I can use 5 dice and I can try to hit him. Come on, Bernard, with that broken glass. Let's do this. Now again, before I do any modifying or anything, I rolled a 1, obviously, which is bad. So I take another one of my damage markers and I apply it. So now I only got 3 left that I can use for my broken glass. But on the plus side, look at the 6s. Look at the 6s I just rolled. Now, in the mental patient, he has a defense of 1 and 4 wounds. So obviously, he blocks 1, but he still gets 2 hits. That leaves, I should say, the mental patient has only 1 wound remaining, but Bernard is out of action points. That is the end of all the characters. So we did Ridley, then we did Ernie, and then we did Bernard Smith, or Bernard, or Mr. Smith. Don't really matter, but anyhow, we are done of the characters phase. So now we move on to the monsters phase. So the first thing we have to do is draw a movement card. So movement card is right here. So before we do this, actually before we draw the movement card, we have to look at if we succeeded any of our objectives. We didn't kill him yet, so we don't mark him down for one of the objectives, which is horrible. So anyhow, let's look at the movement card. So this is the event is Shattering Screech. Characters roll on the imagination test. Fail, you take 1 wound. So we're going to do that, and then we'll go on to what this does, what that does, and those 2 as well. Starting off with Ellen-D. Ridley. So her imagination is 7. So the way you do an imagination test is you take 2d6, you're going to roll it, and you add it. If it is equal or less, then they succeed. If it's higher, they fail, and then she would take a wound. So, let's see, come on, Ellen-D. Ridley, you can do it. 3, she succeeded because it's lower than her imagination of 7, so she takes nothing. So she laughs in the face, ha ha! So let's go to Ernie Connors. His imagination is 5, so he's got a little lower, he's not very imaginative, so he's got 5 or lower. He's got 7. So because he got 7, ow, Omnicana takes a wound. Because he's not very imaginative. There, he takes a wound. So let's go on to Bernard Smith, Mr. Smith. He's got a 6 imagination. He's a little bit more imaginative than Arnie, but not as good as Ridley. So let's go. 3. So imagination of 6. It's lower, or it's not equal, it's lower. So he's safe too as well. So that succeeded into the first part, which is the event phase of the monsters. Next thing you do is you look at the surge. It is a green surge, and I'm going to read what happens for the green surge. For the green surge token, what that tells you there into the scenario is you are going to take 1 point of success from one of the objectives off. So if I kill that mental patient, then pretty much he'd be taken off and I'd be back up to 4 that I have to kill. So this is really bad getting these surge things. And the second last thing you have to look at is this icon right here, which is the warden. So that means that this warden will move up on the track 1. So he went from 1 to 2, you can see there. And last but not least, into the movement or the monster phase, you see these little claw marks, and it's showing 2 mental patients. So what that means is we have to place 2 mental patients on the board, and this is random, the way I showed you before. You roll the D4 and the D12 and it tells you where to put them. Now, because we are only playing a 3-character game or solo mission, sometimes you'll have cards that have more than 1 monster slash onto this. We'll only go by 2. It says in the rule book. It's just for difficulty rating. But if you were playing 4 characters or higher, then you would go by the 3 for sure. So anyhow, I'm going to roll off for the mental patients and place them on the board, and I'll be back. I did the random roll to see where the monsters spawn. One goes in quarter 2, number 5, and the other one goes to quarter 4, number, oh, right here, sorry. No, it's not right here, it's right here, sorry. Quarter 4, number 3. That's what I rolled off. So this is the spawning for the monsters and the movement phase. So this here, this card, the monster turn or movement turn, is done. So that is how you do 1 round of lobotomy in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play a little bit off camera, and then if anything significant happens, I'm going to go back on again and show you what happened. So I will record more and more as time goes on, but if I record every turn, you notice that this video is going to get even longer. So just stand by. I'm going to play a couple of turns. I'm going to come back for the end of each monster turn and everything else, and we'll see where we're at. Wish me luck. I've already made a mistake in the game. It's not a significant mistake that it's going to affect more, but I caught it at the end. So when you flip over your movement and you're going to follow these effects, one thing you're supposed to do before you do this is you have to move the monsters, which I totally forgot. So looking on the board where all the monsters are at, or what type of monsters they are, is we have a mixture of scavengers and mental patients. So we're going to have to move them. And the way that you move them is the scavengers has a movement of, or 2 action points, so they can move twice. Mental patients have 1 action point, so they can move once. So we have to do that before we kind of spawned them monsters. So we're going to move them before that. So the way you move it, just so I can explain, well, I just pick a quadrant and I go from there. So they will move to the closest character. So if the character is not in sight, you just, again, it's up to the player's discretion. But, you know, if one character is 3 spaces towards the monster and the other character is like 5 spaces, obviously you're going to move to the 3rd space one. So let's just move these. So the warden don't move because he already moved because of the card. But this one, you can see that Ridley's over there. So the scavenger get 2 spaces, so he moves 2. So monsters can't pass through walls, unless they're ethereal and they can pass through walls. They can't attack, they can only pass through them. They can pass through doors as long as they're not discovered. Once they're discovered, like as in this token is gone and this is flipped over and reveals if it's locked or what have you, the monster cannot pass through that until it is cleared or opened. So that clarifies. So I'm going to move all the other monsters and I'm going to come back and show you where everything is. All the monsters have moved except for 1. And the reason why it didn't move I will explain. But before that, this is a prime example right here of this monster. This mental patient has a movement of 1 and he was here, so he moves 1 to the closest character, but he has to follow the rules of doors. This door is not discovered yet, so he just passes through it and moves there. So he's only 1 space away from Arnie Connors. And same with this one, it just passed through the door. So when I say all monsters move except for 1, I'm not talking about the boss right here, the warden. This guy right here, he's in combat. So because of that, he's able to attack Smith to see if he's going to kill Smith or hit Smith to do destruction onto him. So I'm going to show you how the monsters attack. Monsters attack pretty much the same way as what the characters attack, or the heroes. So he has 5 dice that he rolls, but he's got to get a 5+. So this here little bit of text here, it says, I feel like I'm gasping for air, screaming for help, but everyone just looks at me with confused faces, wondering what I am struggling with when they are doing just fine. And it makes me feel crazy. Oh, I'm crazy. That's right. Mental patient's crazy. Rah! So anyhow, he's going to attack Smith with 5 dice, and he has to roll 5s. So the mental patient is attacking Smith. Has to get 5s. He's got no bonuses, so that's 1 hit he gets on Smith. But. Look at Smith, Bernard Smith. He has a defensive 1. So automatically that gets canceled. So that means Bernard Smith don't take any damage. He hits him, but the mental patient is so tied up into a straitjacket, it just, you know, it just glances him, and Bernard Smith says, yeah, my mother hits harder than that. And that is the turn for the monster. So again, just to recap about the doors, if the doors are not discovered, or I mean, yes, if they're not discovered, monsters can pass through them freely. Characters cannot. They have to discover doors. Now, also too as well is each monster has a rating for action points, and you can use that for movement or attack. The mental patient right here, that was by Bernard Smith. He had 1 action point, and he used that to attack, but he failed. And that is the end of the monster phase or movement phase. I forgot that one little bit. In the book it says you should move the monsters first before you do anything else. But I forgot that. I did it at the end. In any case, they still got moved. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go on to round 2. And if something significant happens, I'm going to start recording, because if not, if I keep recording each round over and over again, it's going to get, the video be super long, and I won't want to keep it, it's already long now, but I can't help it because of explanation. But we're going to go on to the second round, and when I see something significant happen, I will record it. At the beginning of every character round, or the round that the characters go through, if you have any like exhaust tokens, because this was on 3 if you remember, so the monster turn is over, so this goes down. Now another way you can reduce this is if a character, your character that has one of these tokens uses another weapon or its fist or something and kills a monster, they can automatically drop it down again, but no monsters were killed yet. So that's how you can reduce the cooldown track, or the exhaust track. It's called cooldown track, but I just like exhaustion. You know, you're using the weapon until it's exhausted. It's Arnie Connor's turn for turn 2, and you can see he is 1 space away from a mental patient. So the reason why I'm recording now is to show you that Arnie Connor is going to use one of his special abilities, which is a range attack, and how that works so that we can attack that mental patient between the 2 doors. What I'm talking about here is Arnie has a shockwave. It is an attack, so don't attach to a weapon like before when Bernard Smith used it, because they don't have that weapon icon. This is just an attack. Special ability though. So we can use 7 dice, and this here means it's 1, he can attack something that is a range, 1 range away, or he can use the multiple enemy attack. What them arrows mean is for, again, it's a range 1, he can use 4 dice, and if there's, just say there was 5 monsters on that zone, 1 zone away, he'll attack all of them with the same, which is really cool. But he only has the 1, he don't have to use this, he's gonna obviously use the one with the 7 dice instead of the 4, and I'm gonna roll it and see if I can destroy that mental patient. Just so I don't forget, I'm going to take my exhaustion marker or cooldown marker and put it here, because I am using that. And there's my 7 beautiful dice, and I'm going to have to try to hit that mental patient. So let's see. Now Arnie he hits on 3, so by using 7 dice, it's a little bit more better odds. So let's see. Oh, that's 1 hit, that's 2 hits, that's 3 hits, that's 4 hits, and that's 5 hits. Oh, Arnie did a good job, but he rolled 1s. But as you can tell right here with this, there's no like hammer token for this, so you don't have to put on that. So that don't count. It's only for weapons that have the hammer token. So he has 5 hits. Let's look at the defense of the mental patient and see how much damage this mental patient can take. I know we looked at it already, but just to recap, he has 1 shield. So this 1 shield goes away, which means there's still 4 hits onto him. He has 4 wounds. So guess what happens to this mental patient? It's dead. Dead, dead, dead. I will terminate you. Really bad impersonation, but now, he's gone. He's dead. And what happened to this mental patient? He goes right here with his other buddies. He's dead, but he just replenishes the supply. So now we have to mark down 1 kill for mental patient in our objectives. As you can see, I wrote down on my paper the objectives that we have. So scavengers, we need 4. We need 4 mental patients, 3 nurses, 4 item cards and lockers, and 4 mental tokens, or memory tokens, I should say. So I'm taking my really fancy zombie pen. See that? And I'm scratching off, oh no, wrong one. One mental patient, so that's gone. I'm right-handed and holding the camera right hand, so I'm using my left hand to write. It's really hard. So anyhow, we completed one part of our objective. So we're gonna get 3 more mental patients. For Arnie's last action point, he's going to move up here. Oh, I just dropped the door. So anyhow, I'll pick the door up in a second. He can't try to discover that door because he don't have any more action points, but he has the ability, he can take 1 wound and it gives him 1 extra action point per turn. But I'm not gonna do that because he already took 1 wound. I know he's a tank and it wouldn't make a difference, but I'm keeping it like that. So that's the end of Ernie's turn. It's Bernard Smith's turn, but Mr. Smith, he is locked in combat, remember, with the other mental patient, but the mental patient has 3 wounds, only takes 1 more to hit. If I want to do with Bernard Smith and run away from combat, it says here, ex-con, you could leave spaces with monsters on them for 2 action points. He has 4 action points, he could certainly afford that, but why am I gonna do that? I wanna try to kill this guy. So again, he's gonna try with the broken glass, hopefully I won't roll any 1s. 5 dice, because I can't use my hit and run ability again because I'm still cooling it down. So he has to get 5s or higher, and with the broken glass he's able to modify one of the rolls by 1. So there's 2, and I got a 4 here, so I'm modifying that by 1. Oops, obviously it went by 1, but where's the 5? Where's the 5? There's the 5 right there. But look what else, I rolled 2 1s, so uh-oh. That means that he takes 2 more hits onto his broken glass. So he's almost exhausted his broken glass and he has to discard it. 1 more time he rolls a 1, that exhaust is gone. But because I got 3 successful hits, the mental patient though has 1 shield, so 1 gets taken off automatically. Leaves me 2 hits, and the mental patient's wound capacity is 4. So if you look here, the mental patient has 3 hits already, so do you know what that means? Bye, mental patient. No, no, no! This is number 2 for mental patients. Woohoo! Party, party! We're getting there. We are getting there. And it's turn 2. For the rest of Smith's action points, he's just going to choose 2, 3, 4. And that leaves him right there. And that ends his turn. And then it is the monster's turn again. For the monster's turn, before I draw a movement card, I'm not forgetting this time, I gotta move all the monsters according to their action points. All the monsters are moved, so now I pull a movement card. And it says, Shattering Screech. Characters roll on the imagination test. So again, that there, pretty much a duplicate. But you know what, we'll just keep it exactly like this and just keep playing it. But there's different monsters that we drew on this one because it was mental patients and now it's going to be scavengers. So first off, I'm going to do the imagination test for them all and see what happens. Remember the imagination test, you take 2d6s and roll them. They have to get equal or lower to not take any hits. I rolled for Ridley. She got nothing. Arnie, he's got a low imagination, but he succeeded. He has a wound from previous attack. But Bernard here, he took a wound from the imagination. Because his imagination is better than Ernie, but it still don't matter. He took a wound. Now because we got a green surge star, that means that I take one of my objectives back away. So where I killed the 2 mental patients, it's only down to 1 again. This is going to really be hard if I keep getting these. And also the warden moves, and then I randomize and place the scavengers, which I'm going to do. So my 2 left to kill mental patient goes back up to 3. Because of that green star, which sucks. Because of the warden icon, He moves one space. Oh, that was 2, though he moves here. My bad. So he's right here now. And last but not least, we got a roll for the scavengers. First scavenger goes quadrant 2 and 9, so B9. Second scavenger goes C4, so B9 and C4. I did the B9 and C4 for the scavengers, you can see here and over there too as well. So that concludes round 2. So onto the heroes. So when something happens, I will start recording again. We're on Ridley's turn, and what I planned on was to flip this over. Now he is here, but he's not in the same space, so she's safe to search. So to do this kind of search, this is where you are going to just, as an action point, you're going to flip it over, and then you can see you have some numbers on there and icons, 4, 2, and 1. So I'm going to explain to you how you go about searching a locker or a filing cabinet, whatever one, but this one is a locker. When you are going to do a search, you have to do, it's based off of your imagination. So you can see on here with Ridley, her imagination here is 7. So what that means is you're going to take 7d6 and you are going to roll them. Now when you roll the 7d6 or the amount of d6 for your imagination, you have to get a 4, 5, or 6 to be successful. And then if you get a 4, 5, or 6, then it tells you, okay, I'm successful, so that will let you know how many of this that I'm able to pick up, so, or search successfully for. I'll explain it more as I do the roll and so on. I'm gonna roll my 7 dice, which is her imagination rating. And anything that is 4, 5, or 6 is successful, but you can see she failed miserably. And you can see here, well, there's a number 4, 2, and a 1 on there. 4 for weapon, 2 for item, and 1 for medication. Why can't I successfully search? That is a good question, and the reason being is just say, let's just alter these rolls just for the sake of this tutorial here. So there, we'll do it that way. So just say I rolled this. So out of my 7 dice, I rolled a 5, 6, and a 6. So again, anything that is above 4 or is 4 or higher is a success. So therefore, I succeeded 3 times. I get 3 successes. So then if you look onto the back side of the cabinet or locker, 3 successes, I would be able to either pick up an equipment or medicine, but I wouldn't be able to pick up the weapons. So therefore, for as many successes as you roll, it don't mean that number is equal to this. It means how many successes would equal the amount that you can pick up. So just say another example, you can see there for weapons, for me to pick up a weapon, I'd need 4 successes. So hypothetically, if I did roll and I got this, for instance, I got 4 successes, 2 5s and 2 6s. Anything 4 over is a success. So because this here, these would all be successes, so that's 4 successes. So you would look at your locker and you can see the 4 there. So because of that, I would be able to pick up the weapons, a weapons card, or I could choose to pick up an item card and a med card. So that's how it works for when you do a locker search or a filing cabinet search. Not like the body search, which I already explained. So that is how you would be able to succeed to do a search. If you fail, that just stays there. And you know, you can try again if you want. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you again and see if I get any more luck to help explain it a little better. Ridley has 4 action points. She used 1 to search and she failed. So I'm using her imagination rating of 7, so that's 7 dice again. And I'm going to roll to see if I have any successes. So this is a little better. So I got 1 success, 2 success. So remember, anything 4 or higher counts as a success. So we got 2 successes. So therefore, judging on this chart, I got 2 successes. So I can either take 1 item card or 2 med cards. Either one. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do, because Ridley has her crowbar that's still in good standing. And that is a weapon, so I couldn't draw a weapon card anyhow. An item card or meds. I don't have any meds on me here, so I'm going to grab 2 med cards, because again, it costs 1 success for a med card, and I got 2 successes. So on that case, you take the locker and you get rid of it, because I was successful in searching it. And then I'm going to come over here, and I chose, I'm going to draw 2 med cards, because their only point cost, again, is 1 success. So I'm going to draw 1 med card and 2 med cards. The 2 cards I picked up, the 2 meds, now this one here recovers 1 sanity. That skull means sanity. Now, I never touched upon the sanity track that's on each player's card right here, because I didn't have to talk about it yet, because we didn't come across having to use it. But once we come across using this, I will explain. If we don't come across using it during the game, I will explain in the end. Either way, I will do an explanation of it. So again, I'm going to keep this. It is recover 1 sanity. You can see it has 2 uses, and then it's discarded. So I'm going to place that there. And the next card I got is recover 2 health. But she is at full health right now, but I'm going to keep this. And again, this here, after 2 uses, it's no good. So again, where it's 2 uses, 2 health is 2 uses. So that's how that is. So I'm going to keep in there. And remember too as well, is each character has a maximum that they can carry. Now these are meds. They still count as items regardless. So just so I can just repeat what I said about previously about what they can hold. Skill wise, you can have 4 skills, a maximum of 4 skills, any character unless otherwise stated. You can have a maximum of 6 items unless otherwise stated. Now you can get a card, it's like a backpack, and it tells you can carry 3 extra items, which is really good. So I had that before in one of my other games, but that's how you do a search for a locker. And I have 2 more action points for this, for Ridley, and I'm worried that because of this, if we get any more of these green stars, we're going to have to backtrack and lose one of our items or one of our monsters that we killed or what have you. So for Ridley's last 2 action points, she's going here and she's going to attack this mental patient, because we need to try to get our points up for that. Ridley is going to, for her last action point, fight that mental patient, as I said, and I'm just going to use my crowbar. So the crowbar is 5 dice, and again, if I roll a 1, it takes one of the uses off. So let's see, and the mental patient has 1 shield and 4 health. And Ridley has to at least have a 5 for a hit. And I got 1 6, and I got myself a 1, which, I don't like that. So I have to take one of the counters and place it here. Whoa, it's rolling away on me. So I gotta place it here on the crowbar because I rolled a 1. So now also too as well, you look at this, I got 1 6, because Ridley has to roll at least 5s. 5s or higher to hit the monster. So Ridley hit the mental patient once with the 6, but unfortunately, with the mental patient, it has a defense of 1, so it blocks that 1 hit, and that is the end of Ridley's turn, because she don't have any more action points. I'm glad I set all of the characters up to demonstrate certain parts of the gameplay aspect, because we're on Ernie Connor's turn, and he is standing in front of a doorway. So now, for an action point, actually, just to explain a little better, is that for characters to explore, or actually it's called discover a door, they use 1 action point. So therefore, Ernie Connors discovered a door. So I'm going to move this door token out of the way, just so I get a little bit more room. I'm kind of off camera there. Sorry about that, everybody. So I take this door token for 1 action point and I flip it. So now you can see it has a 3 onto it, and it is barricaded. So what that means is that for Ernie Connors to be able to pass through that door, he has to destroy the barricade, pretty much destroying the door. And the way he can do that, he has a couple of options. One option would be to use his fists and try to destroy it by punching it and breaking it, or he can use a weapon and try to destroy it that way. Or he can also automatically take one hit of it by using an action point. But again, it would take 3 turns, actually 2 turns for Ernie Connors to do that, because he only has 2 action points. He used 1 to discover it already. So what that means is he's probably going to try to punch it or use a weapon. Actually, he's going to use his club, because the club is still pretty strong. He's got no damage onto it. So he's going to try to club that door open. Now, there's one other option that you can do to open the door. The other option that Ernie can use to try to destroy the door, this is a free action. What he does, instead of trying to attack it with the weapon to destroy it, he automatically puts a damage token onto the weapon, and he takes 1 hit off of the door. So if he has a pretty strong weapon, just say he has a 6-point durability weapon, he can spend 3 of them durability points without even trying to attack the door and destroying the door by putting the 3 durability points onto his weapon. So that's another way that you can open it too as well. During the game too as well, I'd just like to note that you can get these type of tokens that has a lock symbol on them and a number. What that means is the door is locked, and the only way to open it would be to do which is called the lock test. You're going to use your imagination rating. So for Ernie Connors, his imagination is 5, so he'd get 5d6 and he would roll. Any success that is a 4 or higher counts as a hit against the door to try and unlock it, not hit it, but just to unlock the door. So if he rolled with his 5 imagination d6 and he got 3 successes, 3 of them were 4 or higher, he would have just unlocked that door and was able to do it. Now, what's the benefit of keeping a door barricaded or locked? Because sometimes into the room you have monsters, and them monsters, only when a door is not discovered, they can pass through them freely. But if a door is discovered and it's still barricaded or locked, monsters cannot go through the door, so they are trapped inside that room. Unless that monster is an ethereal monster which can pass through walls. So that's just a little bit more tidbit of information of how you go about doing that. So what I'm going to decide to do for Ernie here is his club is at 5, it's going to take 3. I don't know if I should try to just attack the door with my club, or if I should just use my 1 action point to take a hit from it. Actually, you know, that's what I'm going to do, is because Ernie discovered the door, which is 1 action point. Now, to go through the door, you don't get a free strike at it unless it's a locked door. If you flip over the door icon that is a locked door, you get 1 free shot at trying to unlock the door. Then after that, it costs 1 action point per turn for everybody. So if a door has been discovered with the lock icon and somebody comes up to the space and says, okay, I'm going to try to unlock that door, they don't get a free shot out of it because it's already been flipped over or discovered. So what Ernie's going to do is going to spend his last action point to just put it on to take 1 hit off of that barricade. And that's it. He took 1 hit off of the door, the barricade's in the door, so it only has 2 more strength left. Now we're on to Mr. Smith's turn. Mr. Smith is kind of in a little pickle here, and the reason why is because where he's located right now, on the monster turn, this monster can move out to this space because it has an action point of 1. This guy right here, he can move 1 space, or he pretty much what he does is have 2 action points. So he can move 1 space and then attack. This guy right here, he can go in the door for 1 and then move 1 more space. So he's going to be kind of locked out. So got to figure out what the heck he's going to do for Mr. Smith, because he looks like he might be in trouble. But he's got 4 action points, so we'll see what happens. Oh, what is he going to do? What is he going to do? Out of all the monsters, the slashers, which are the skinny guys, like this guy and that guy there, they're the weakest. They don't have any defense, but the the mental patient has 1 defense, so I think what he's going to do is he is going to move up one space for 1 action point, and he's going to spend another action point to attack this slasher to see if he can destroy the slasher. The slasher has, scavenger, sorry. The scavenger has 3 wounds. So that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to attack the scavenger, probably with his broken glass, to see if he can knock him down. The dilemma I have, though, is, well, actually, what Mr. Smith has is, you can see the broken glass weapon. He already has 4 ticks onto it, and he can only take 1 more. So if he rolls a 1 or 1, the broken glass is gone, and he's going to be forced to use his fist. But in any case, it's going to be gone regardless. So I'm going to take the chance and roll the 5 dice here and see what it is. Now, he has to get 5s or better to have a successful hit. So remember, the scavenger has no shield, so any hit will be not blocked. Oh, and look at this. And the broken glass, if you do recall, you're able to modify 1 die by 1. So in that case, I'm modifying the 4 to a 5, which gives me 2 hits, but look what else I rolled. I rolled a 1, so that means that this broken glass is gone. It gets discarded. So now what you can do with the broken glass is you can reshuffle it back into the weapons, or you can just put it in the discard pile. For this game, I'm just going to place it there for the discard. So he don't have any more weapons. He only has his fists that he can fight. But he did kind of sacrifice it. The broken glass was going to be gone anyhow. So what he does is he hit him for 2 anyhow. We only got to hit this scavenger for 1 more to kill him. And what's good about this is he only spent 2 action points. He got 2 more action points. So he's going to spend the 3rd action point to hit him again. But this time he's going to punch him. One thing I have trouble doing is keeping track of the cooldown tokens. So I can't remember if the cooldown token was here. I mean, it was here, but I can't remember if it was there for the end of the last turn. That would move down to 1. In either case, he wouldn't be able to use it, but if he did, he would have been able to roll 1 extra dice. 1 extra die, but he can't. So he's going to, for his 3rd action point, he's going to use his fists to try to punch the scavenger in the head. So 3 dice, and again, his rating, he has to get a 5, but he can't modify these rolls, so 1 5 will do it. Oh, look at that. He's got a 6 right there. And you know what that means? This scavenger right here, smack punch. Ah! I was off camera. You missed it. It was so epic. Mr. Smith just used his fist from his training in boxing and punched him and killed him. So that's it. That scavenger's done. He gets removed from the board, and you know what we do? We add a tick to our scavenger counter. And as we see, we got 4 ticks, 4 scavengers we have to kill. And remember, I screwed up. That was supposed to be for the mental patient, but I forgot. So I'm just going to really scribble this one out really good. There. So far, we only got 3 scavengers that we have to get. And we have to get 3 mental patients, 3 nurses, and the items lockers, the memory token. So we didn't advance too far. So this game is serving to be very difficult. Some games, it's just the luck of the roll of the dice for sure, and even the drawing of the cards, especially the memory cards, because every time you draw one that got a green star, or even different color stars, it can screw you over. As in, oh, you just killed this, but guess what? You don't get count for it now. So I'm going to keep playing. I'll come back with more results, and hopefully I will get further and be more successful. Wish me luck. We're on to the monster's turn because Mr. Smith just went. I moved all the monsters except for the warden because I didn't draw the movement card yet. But before we can pull the movement card again, you can see that Ridley is in combat with the mental patient. So the mental patient is going to try to attack Ridley. And we already seen the battle of how this works, but I'm going to record it anyhow just to refresh everybody's memory. The mental patient, you can see, has one action point. So that mental patient is using that one action point to attack Ridley. Gets 5 dice, has to roll 5s or higher to successfully hit. And Ridley has a shield of 1. So she's fresh as a daisy. She don't got any wounds whatsoever. So we're just going to roll the 5 dice, and hopefully the mental patient is too tied up and too crazy to actually strike Ridley successfully. So 5 dice. Oh, that's 1. Whoops. 2. So that's 2 successes. As you can see, the rest are just 1, 2, and 3. So because of that, 1 gets taken away because Ridley has a shield, which leaves 1 more wound. So Ridley takes 1 wound. And as you can see, Ridley took 1 hit, or 1 wound from that. She has 7, so now she's down to 6. Now, I said before, because of the meds that she picked up, recover 1 insanity, but they can do it twice. And I said this means you can recover two wounds only once, but technically it's 4 wounds, because she can recover 2 wounds twice, and then this gets discarded. But I'm not going to use a wound yet, because she still has 6 wounds. She's still good. But that's what happened before I drew the movement card for the monsters. Ridley get hit 1. So I'm going to draw it, and if anything significant happened, I will start recording again. This game is a lot of fun, I have to say, but can be very frustrating, as you can see. Before I draw the movement card, I forgot to mark down from where the locker was searched successfully by Ridley. I think it was Ridley that did it, yes. So anyhow, because of that, item cards in locker. So 2 were successful, so 2 was wiped out. So that's a good thing. And now we're going to draw the memory card, movement card I should say, and see what thing is going to happen there. Movement card is drawn. First off, you're going to see that no event this turn, which is good. But you also get the blue surge star, and you also get a memory token. And you get a mental patient and a nurse. Remember, because we're playing only with 3 characters, if there was another one, you don't use it. But it has 2, so we use it both. So let's go to the blue surge star and see what that means. What a horrible thing is going to happen. For the blue surge star, I don't like this at all. Anyhow, I have to cancel 3 points of progress. So from where I progressed during the game and I drew the blue star, 3 points are canceled out. So it's going to drop me down, so I have to keep going more and more. Now I have a choice to make of what 3 points I want to cancel. So the items here, I got 2 of them. So let's just go back up again to 4 for the items. So that's 2 more points. 2 points, I got 1 more. So it's either going to be a mental patient or a scavenger. Yeah. Mental patients have 1 shield, scavengers have none. So easier to kill a scavenger than a mental patient, I think, so there. So I'm back up to 4 for that. So that's what happens. I drew the blue surge token, or the blue surge star, and I had to cancel 3 points of progress. This is very difficult for sure. Now let's go talk about the memory icon or token that we have to do that is on the card for the movement. When you get one of these on your card, what that means is you're going to take a memory token, like this one here, but one that is not already on the board. You're going to roll your D4 and your D12, and you're going to place it on that quarter, on that zone. That's all what that means for that one. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to spawn these 2, and I'll come back. And that's a mental patient and a nurse. So finally we're getting a nurse on the board. I rolled quadrant 2. You see right there. And here's number 4. So 2, 4, I put it on the board, and luckily enough, Mr. Smith is right here. So A is quarter 1, B is quarter 2, And number 4, which is right here, so he's on there. So on his turn, he's going to be able to pick that memory token up, which will probably knock us down a bit more, which is good. Thank goodness. So now I'm just going to spawn the mental patient the same way, and the nurse, and then move on to the characters. I spawned the nurse and the mental patient A10 and A6. So she's on 6, and he's on 10. Very close to Ridley, so Ridley looks like she's starting to get surrounded here. Something's going to have to happen here, because I know she's only got 1 wound, but she's going to have to start hitting. Anyhow, that's it for the character, or the movement phase, I should say, because the card did not have the warden icon. So because of that, the warden does not move. He stays exactly where he is. But Ridley got to be careful where she moves now, because if she moves on that space, that warden's going to stomp her. Or even on number 4, and we talked about what stomping is for the warden. So on to the characters. The characters phase. It is Ridley's turn, so she's on the same square as a mental patient, or space I should say, so she has no choice but to fight. She can, if she has the ability, she can run away from it, but you know what, she's going to fight. I don't think she has the ability to run away from it anyhow. So what she's going to do, let's look at the cards for Ridley and decide what we're going to do for her to attack that mental patient. Ridley's going to use her Mother's Rage, which is a weapon attack. So this attaches to any weapon she has, not the fist, but she has a weapon luckily. So a +1 to attack rolls. So whenever she rolls, she adds 1 to for the attack. So if she gets a 4 and she needs a 5, she can add that +1 to all 4s, or what have you. So pretty much what that means is she gets to roll. So she's using a crowbar. There's the example right there for that, just to make it a little more clear. There it is. So she's using a crowbar. She's going to roll 5 dice. So for every roll that is a 5, she successfully hits the monster. Now, where it says here, a +1 to attack rolls. So that applies to all dice. So if she rolls any 4s, she just adds the 1 to all of the 4s, and it's going to equal 5. Also too, as all you can see here, gains of fire and an extra dice. So her crowbar goes up to 5, or 6 dice I should say. And what the fire icon means on this is that it pretty much ignores defense of the monster you're attacking. Just a correction about the fire attack, I should say. What that means is it reduces the enemy's defense by 1. So if the enemy has 2 shields, they're only going to have 1 shield. If they have 1 shield, it's going to have no shields. And that's how it works with a fire. So she's going to use her Mother's Rage, and she's going to get that +1 bonus, plus she gets an extra die and gets the fire attack. And she uses the crowbar, so that's 6 dice, and she gets a +1 to it, and she is going to attack the mental patient. So that mental patient has a shield of 1, so it drops it down by 1, so therefore that is going to have, the mental patient is going to have 0 defense. Because she's using that, she has to put 1 here for the cooldown track. So she can't use it until it goes back down to 1, and then she can take it off. And they have a 6 durability, so she already got 1 hit onto it, so it's 5. Hopefully she's not gonna roll a 1. 6 dice. Let's go, Ridley. You can do this. So that's 1 5. That's a hit. There's a 6, that's 2 hits. So it's a +1, but unfortunately, if we give 1 to each of these dice that don't matter, it's still not going to go up to 5, because she needs a 5 to successfully hit. But gets 2 hits, and the mental patient don't have any defense because of the flame. So 2 hits go through successfully. I think the mental patient has 3 wounds? No. Mental patient has 4 wounds, so he's down to 2 wounds remaining. There you have the mental patient have two wounds remaining, and that was only 1 action point for Ridley. So Ridley is going to keep attacking and knocking this mental patient down. So she's going to use her club again, not club, sorry, crowbar to hit the mental patient. I forgot to do one thing too as well, is if you notice these dice, there's a 1. So because of that, this crowbar takes another hit. So the durability is now down to 4 instead of 6. But anyhow, no big deal, still got some whacking involved. So she's going to use the 5 dice. She's not able to use the Mother's Rage again because it's on cooldown. She's going to attack the mental patient. I'll come back if it's destroyed or not. As you can tell, Ridley successfully beat the mental patient. So that's 1 tick down. He's gone because she got enough wounds, you can see here. But the only problem is that she did roll a 1, so she takes 1 more hit onto her crowbar. That takes it down, only 2 mental patients left. Where we left off, Arnie, he was trying to destroy that door. He already take 1 hit, so it's 2 more hits to destroy the door. Now, I already rolled the dice and everything. I decided he's going to use his crowbar, not crowbar, his club. And I rolled, I got a 1, so he takes 1 of the hits for the durability, so he's down to 4 for durability. But as you can see, he's got a 4, and he's got a 6, and he's got a 3. All he had to do was roll anything 3 or higher. So he destroyed the door. So that's 1 action point done for Arnie, and he destroyed the door so he can go in now. And for his last action point, Arnie can move in right here. So he can pick up that memory token. Don't get any more action points, but Arnie does have the special ability so that he can take 1 wound and he gets an extra action point. But I'm not going to do that because I could flip over the next card and it'll have one of the colored surge stars and it'll drop it down. So I'm waiting after that to do it, just so we can try to keep regaining. So that is Ernie's turn, and we're going on to Mr. Smith right here. For Mr. Smith's turn, Mr. Smith, I can't even say his name. For Bernie's turn, he's on the space, 1 action point, he picks it up. So this here is double-sided, but it's got the same icon onto it. So what that means, if you pick up a memory token, I'm just going to place it back here into the memory pool. He's able to draw a memory. So this can make him more powerful, or it could hinder him. We don't really know. These have been shuffled and randomized, and you can't really just look and see which one you want. You have to pick whatever one. So you're going to pick a memory card. Yeah, it's one of his. So it says Bernard's memory. And I will read this. If there was a Nobel Prize for lying, I would win it. Or at least I would tell everyone I did. Been there, done that. Skill permanent, cost none. Gain 1 free additional success in every locker search and door opening test. Oh, that's really good. So this one turned out to be in benefit of Bernie, because every time he does a locker search or to try to open up a door, he gets 1 free success, which is really, really helpful for sure. So that is how you use the memory cards. So he's got his memory right there, and there's a total of 10 memory cards, 5 of which is his personal ones, and this is one of his personal ones. You can see there it's Bernard's memories, and there's other ones, there's 5 that are generic that also can hinder or benefit the character. We're just lucky that this one benefited. So that means that one of the memory things have been has to be ticked off too as well, because we were successful in that. So I'm going to tick that off. So memory tokens, 1 down, which is really good. See, that's why I didn't get Arnie to pick up that memory token, because we have to go on to the monster phase now, which is the movement and flipping over the movement card, and we can get another star, which can cause us to backtrack even more. So I'm holding off on that for now, but it is the monster's turn. Well, not yet, because Bernie has 4 action points. He used up 1, so he's able to go and do 3 more actions. Let's see what he's going to do. Bernard Smith, or Bernie, he has 3 more action points, so he is going to, again, this is still 1 space from the line, so that's 1 action, 2 action, 3 action. Now, the reason why I didn't go here is because this is a wall. He can pass through walls. He's not ethereal. So he's setting up so that he can go in there and grab that other memory token. Because we have to start trying to knock this down for sure, because this is getting really, really difficult. And just luckily, we didn't have to move the warden anymore. But now it is the monster's movement phase, and then we have to flip over the movement card and everything. I'll come back if anything happens. I did all the monster movement. Now we got to draw the movement card. Hopefully, it's going to be a little easier than the last one. No event this time, and there's no star, which is a bonus, but we do get the warden moving one space. So, and we also got a spawn too as well, the monsters. But anyhow, that's not too bad though. It's on number 3, goes to number 4, and then I'm just going to spawn the monsters. And again, this is a prime example where you get 3 monsters to spawn, but because they're only 3 character game, we only spawn the first 2. So the nurse don't have to spawn, unfortunately, because we need to kill the nurses too though. There's only 1 nurse on the board. Anyhow, I'm going to spawn these, and then that will be the end of the monster's turn, and then it's going to be back to the character's turn. On Ernie's turn, he managed to kill the scavenger that was standing in front of him, and then he was able to pick up the memory token, so I got to mark that off and then mark the scavenger off too as well. And the memory token that he pulled is Talk to the Hand. It's a power fist weapon. It has 6 durability onto it, 6 dice, and you cost 2 durability and 1 action point. Move a door token from your space. So that's really good. So Arnie got lucky there for sure. Bingo, bango. On Bernard's turn, he moved up and he discovered the door, but you can see the door has a lock and a number 5. So which means he has to do an imagination test, or actually in this case it's a lock test. So he takes his imagination rating, which is 6, and he has to roll a 4, 5, or 6 to have 1 success. So he rolls them, he's got a 4, he's got a 5, and he's got a 6 right there. So there's 3 successes. So because he got 3 successes, that door is locked right there, so that he takes off 3, so it's down to 2. Because he discovered the door and flipped it over, he gets a free shot of the unlocking, which he did. That was his free shot, so he got 3 off it. So now if he wants to try and unlock the door again, he has to spend 1 of his action points. So he spent 1, 2, 3, so this is going to be his last action point, so he's going to try the unlock test again. Let's go there, Mr. Smith. Smith gets another success and another success. So that's 2 more successes. So therefore that door is unlocked. And on his next turn he can freely move into that door, which is great. I moved all the monsters. Now it's time to grab another movement card. Let's grab it, see what it is. No event, awesome. 2 in a row, this is sweet. No surge star, but I get a memory token and the warden moves. And I'm just going to spawn a scavenger and a nurse, nice. And again, 3rd nurse, only 3 players, so that is void. That's not too bad, so I'm going to do all of that, and then I'm going to carry on with the characters and see if I'm going to get any closer here. So at least I don't take any backtracking or moving some of my progress. That's a benefit right there. That's 2 in a row. I'm lucky, but I'm scared for the next one because I don't know how many of these have no surge stars in it, but hopefully there's a lot of them and I keep drawing them. One thing I forgot to do before I go on any further is with the movements, the scavenger did move into the room with Arnie, so he's going to fight Arnie, the scavenger. And I'm going to come back with the results. Oh my, Arnie's a tank though. If he takes 1, it's not going to be such a big deal, so let's just hope they don't take any ones though. Crossing my fingers and toes. Scavenger attacks with 5 dice. Has to get 5 or better. He rolled a 5 and a 6, so that's 2 successful hits on Arnie. But luckily, Arnie is a tank. He's got 2 shields, so they go away, and Arnie don't take any more wounds, so he only has 1 wound, which is really good. So that's the monster one. So it's back to the character's turn. Wish me luck, because I need it. Beginning of Ridley's turn, she has 4 action points, so she is going to go 1, 2, 3, and then discover this door. Again, like I said before, these doors they're three-dimensional. It just adds dimension to the game, but they're not necessary. You don't have to play with these. But I like 3D stuff, so of course I'm gonna play with them. So anyhow, discovering the door. Oh, look at that. It's empty. It's blank. So what that means is it's a force field that comes around the character, and the character takes 5 wounds automatically. No, I'm joking. What happens when you flip a door that is empty? That means that nothing happens and the door is open now. So that was her 3 actions. So she's there 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was her 4th, I think, because she was here. So that's 1, 2, 3, and her 4th one was that. So yeah, she can't go in that door, but at least it's open for her next turn. One thing I want to make a quick note of is I've been kind of cheating during this game because I forgot one important factor, especially with the scavengers. The scavengers, if you see, has 5 dice, but it has the word precision underneath it. So what precision specifically means is that when a monster or a character has precision on one of their weapons or just in general, and they roll a 6, where's the 6 at? There's a 6. So, and they roll a 6 during their attack, it's going to ignore all defense. So what that means is, just say the slasher was attacking Ridley, and Ridley has 1 shield, but onto the scavenger's attack, it rolls 5 dice, and it only got 1 success, which is 5 or higher, and in this case, rolled a 6. So originally, what you do was that hit wouldn't get through because Ridley has 1 shield. But because the scavenger has precision, it would ignore all shields, and Ridley would take that hit. So then she would take the wound. Now, I'm not going to go back in all the footage of what we shot, because we shot a lot so far, especially with fighting scavengers, because they're one of the most common monsters to fight on the game. So for this point down, whenever a scavenger rolls a 6, it's going to go through any of the shields onto the characters. That's a really sad thing, because characters are going to take more damage. Ouch. Now, we're on Ernie's turn because Ridley went, and Ernie has a scavenger right on his space, so he has no choice but to fight that monster. So because he acquired that new memory, he remembered something, so it benefited him, and he's got a little bit stronger. So because of that, Ernie's going to use his talk to the hand. So it's 6 dice, and it has 6 hammers. I just completely lost the name of that. The durability, that's it. Durability, 6 durability. So he's going to use a 6, and he's going to attack. And you notice there's no cost, and there's also no count on this. So it's a memory, but it's actually a weapon. So he is going to use 6 dice and hit that scavenger. Come on, Ernie, you only got to roll 3 or higher. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Bam, just like that. And the other 2 were 2, so you don't take any damage or any, his durability stays up to his max onto that talk to the hand weapon. So because of that, that scavenger with the 4 hits is dead, because the scavenger only got 3 wounds. So scavenger, goodbye. Ernie, you're the man. I'm the man. I can't even talk like Ernie. Anyhow, Ernie killed the scavenger. Good job, Ernie. Something very sad just happened, everybody. I am destroyed because of it. First off, I did mark down that we killed the scavenger, so I only got 1 left, which is a benefit. But what's really sad is my zombie pen is no longer working. The tip is pushed in, so I can't use my zombie pen to mark it anymore. It's very sad. I'm gonna miss you, zombie. I'm gonna miss you writing all them papers, keeping scores. On Mr. Smith's turn, he did go into the room and he did pick up that memory token, so that's 2 action points. Now, since he picked up the memory token, I have to mark off on my sheet, but also too, as well as he flipped over 1 memory And this is what he got. It's one of Bernard's memories, so it's another one. Remember to cover the hole in the wall with a poster. Prison break, skill, one use only, costs none. Move through a wall. Place the token between spaces and treat it as an open door. Only you. So that's pretty good. He just has a hole in the wall no matter where he's at, and he can just escape. So if he feels a monster is going to come and attack him and he feels cornered, he can use this to go through a hole in the wall. So that's a good card to hang on to for sure. Good job there, Mr. Smith. I'm so proud of you. During one of the characters' turns, or not characters' turn, monster turn I should say, a nurse moved. It only has one action point, but there was already a nurse into the same square with Ridley. So that nurse takes an attack at Ridley. So with the nurses I didn't notice, but they're pretty powerful here. They got 6 dice and has to roll 4 or higher for to attack and got 5 wounds. So the nurse rolled on Ridley and Ridley has 1 defense, and this is what the nurse got. 4 successes, so 1 gets, oh actually no, because remember the precision, but the nurse don't have precision. It has to say specifically. So 1 gets void, so 3 hits. So Ridley gets 3 hits. Now what I didn't record the previous turn, for Ridley, she was able to heal one of her wounds. So, and the reason why she was able to heal one of her wounds is because one of her meds. She did also do a locker search, and you can see she used 1 up because she got the locker search and got 4 meds, or 3 meds I think, and she used 1, so it healed one of her wounds. But now she's back up to 3 again. But on her next turn, she's probably going to use this here to heal 2 because she's getting hurt. But one thing she has here, which is really good, +1 action point, she can use it twice. So she can heal 2 twice. So I could use that and really heal her up to full health on her next turn if I want to. During the gameplay, another thing that happened is, just to recap a couple of things, is Ridley had 2 nurses in her area, so during 2 turns she did actually kill 2 nurses, which is really good. But unfortunately, one of the movement cards we drew had another green surge star, so we had to reduce one of them down. I didn't pick a nurse though, I picked a memory token. So another thing just to recap too as well is Ernie here, for one of his action points on his turn, there was a dead body there, he searched it, and this is what he got. This just happened. It is a holy cross. It has an attack of 4 dice and it has a symbol, which is a holy symbol. So what that holy symbol means is, I just looked it up in the book just to confirm what it meant. So whenever you are fighting an ethereal monster or ethereal boss, whatever it is, what happens is their defense is reduced to 0 for this attack. So whenever he attacks an ethereal monster with this holy cross, they don't have any defense. So if they had 5 defense or 5 shields, just as an example, they would have 0 when he attacks with this holy cross or wooden cross. So that's a really good thing. So that's what this symbol means on cards. It is a holy symbol. Holy symbol. On Ridley's turn, she moved up and she grabbed the memory token that was there. So she gets to pull a memory card. Now this one here is memory strip 5. So this is not one that is specifically meant for Ridley. This is just one in general. And it's a bad one, and you can see for a second. You can just read this card and see that it's a bad, but I'll read this. I'm just going to read it off camera because the camera's just not focusing for some reason. Maybe I will. There it is, that's better. Okay, so, not every moment in the asylum is miserable. A stray puppy appeared one day and it has been cheering up the patients ever since. You go to play with it but discovered that someone has put sharp objects in his food. The dog is shrieking loudly while you struggle to get the needles out of its tongue and mouth. Really nice card. The noise is alarming other patients. They will assume you hurt the puppy and beat you senseless. So I have to do a test here. Well, Ridley got to do a test. I got to roll the imagination test. And if I fail, I got to put D3 mental patients on my space. So this card is a bad one. Some memories are good, some memories are bad. So this is bad. For this type of imagination test, Ridley's imagination is 7. So you take 2 dice, you roll them, you will have to add the 2 of them together and hopefully get equal or less than her imagination, which is 7. So please don't fail this, because this would be bad. 4, 5, 6, 7. So I just passed. I just rolled the minimum that you can roll. So Ridley, don't worry, I saved you. Now you find out who did that to the puppies and destroy them. On one of Ernie's turn here, he is pretty much squaring off against this mental patient. Now the mental patient already has 3 wounds. It only has to take 1 more wound and it's dead. But just to show everybody, one of Ernie's cards he has right here, which is called Chop Chop. It's an attack. So 6 dice and it's a critical strike attack, or 4 dice and it's an area effect. So what the area effect means is that if there was more than one of the monsters on the same square, he could use this and it hits everyone. And it's also a critical strike. Now what a critical strike means, because I'm using the 6 because it's better odds. So you roll 6 dice, and what the critical strike is if you roll a 6, it takes 2 wounds from the it hits 2 wounds instead of 1. But you still have to get it past its defense. In the mental patient's defense, I think, yeah, it's a 1 shield. So let's see what I get here. So I get a 1/6 right here, and I only got to get 4. I got to get 3s or higher for Ernie to hit. So he definitely hits and kills it. But again, this would be a critical strike. So just say that I only got 2 hits. Just an example. So 1 would go through the defense, and then the 6 would just hit because 1 went through the defense. And that would be a double hit though, because it was a critical strike. And the only way you can use a critical strike is if you have a card that says critical strike, or a character that can do critical strike. So because of that, guess what, you crazy mental patient? You're dead. Ernie killed you. Good job, Ernie. We're on the turn for Ernie Connors. So you can see here that the scavengers has moved up. Now one of them is on his space. So Ernie I didn't use the insanity track yet, so I don't really need to use this, but I'm going to use it just as one example. There's many examples for the insanity track. So first off, Ernie's going to attack this scavenger, but the way he's going to attack is he's going to use his insanity track for the first time. So you put a marker on the insanity track. I can't even say this. On the 1. So because of that, what you're able to do is you can add a chaos dice, which is these ones that got the skulls and the +1 onto it. So for every skull that you roll, that's your success, an extra success in the hit. So if you roll a +1, all of the dice that you roll get a +1 added to them. So just like other cards, that's what this one is. You know, there's another type of chaos dice too as well, which is called your defense dice, or your defense chaos dice. So whenever a monster is attacking, you can spend 1 sanity point on the insanity track by shifting this up to the 2, or no matter where it is. And you're able to roll this so you get even more defense onto it too as well. So that's another way you can use insanity for the insanity track. But right now, Ernie's going to just take 1 hit of insanity to use the chaos dice right here. Ernie's going to use his club to attack the scavenger. So it's 5 dice, and remember, Ernie has a really good low. He only has to roll a 3 or higher. So there's the 5 dice, plus he's using 1 insanity to get the chaos dice. So if he rolls a 3 skulls, that means it's 3 extra hits. So that's really good. So let's see what happens when Ernie uses his insanity to try to help him. Yeah, okay. So that's 1 success, 2 success, and because he used the chaos dice, that's another success right there. So that's 3. And the scavenger has 0 for the defense. So then 3 hits go through, and the scavenger has 3 hits. So that scavenger right there is gone. Bye-bye. 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 Just to recap on, because I forgot to record this during the gameplay, I kind of got lost during it and said, oh, I should be recording some of this. So just so we can see what our results are so far. So you can see your scavengers, a couple of them get added, but because we're already killed that scavenger, so all the scavengers are dead right now. So hopefully we're going to stay like this. And when we draw more movement cards, we don't get any ones where we got to cancel one of the objectives. That's what I was looking for, is objectives. And you can see the mental patients. Ridley, which I didn't catch on camera, unfortunately, killed the last mental patient, so we're dealing with them. And the nurses, too, as well. Ridley actually killed the last two nurses, so she was pretty tough for that. Item cards in the locker. We still have 2 more to get for this. And the memory tokens, we have 2 more to get for the memory tokens. As for the warden, we were kind of lucky with the warden too as well. We never drew a lot of warden cards. So right now for the counter track for the warden, he's on number 8. So we still have at least 4. 9, 10, 11, 12, and then he goes to the pentagram. And we're probably not going to try to battle the warden because I got a feeling this video is going to be pretty long. But that's okay though, because this here, we're learning how to play Lobotomy together, which is very important. I had a lot of requests on the BoardGameManiacs Facebook page, and I also, in a couple of board game groups on Facebook that I'm members with, I just pretty much posted, what would you rather see, Lobotomy or Mansions of Madness? And Lobotomy was hands down the winner for which one that they would like to see for the next video. So if you're interested too as well, I'm going to be making more posts on Facebook in the future with choice between 2 games, and the winner, that's the video gameplay that I will do for it too as well. But that's later on down the road. Now we're still involved in playing this game of Lobotomy, and we got 4 more turns before, well, when I say 4 more turns, 4 more activations of the warden before he goes to the pentagram and the turn ends. And you can see with their objectives, we're getting close. So hopefully we'll just keep up the momentum and we'll actually finish this game and not lose to the warden, and we won't get lobotomized. Time will tell. Let's keep playing on and see what happens. On one of the monsters' turn, I moved all the monsters, and then I drew the movement card. And the movement card here, can't run, can't hide. Monsters gain a +1 action point for this turn. So I had to move the monsters again 1 more space because none of them were in combat vicinity. But it's kind of putting me in a little bit of a predicament there because that scavenger moved up to Arnie Connors right there now. 2 mental patients are behind him. There's a nurse trailing behind Bernard right there. And a mental patient has moved up close to Ellen Ridley. And also too as well, there's, luckily we didn't have a track for the warden, and we had to spawn 2 more scavengers, which I've done too as well. And that ends the movement phase for the monsters, and we're on to the hero phase again. So, and also too as well, I forgot the green surge star, so I had to take away 1 from my objectives. And you see, this is what I'm not sure about, because 1 from my objectives I had to take because of the green surge star. So I was keeping track of how many things I killed. So if that's the case, and I killed so many of them already, would I take 1 off, but I'm still above the 4? So I'm not sure exactly if that's how you do it, or after the 4 you don't have to keep track of how many you kill. And again, this is for the 3-character game. The objective is the amount of characters equals the amount of scavengers +1, which I've been doing, and again, so on and so forth for this. But because I had the green, I had to take 1 of the objectives off. So I added 1. And the reason why I added 1 is because after the 40 you stop counting, or do you keep going? Now this could be just a house ruling decision. I don't know if I'm going to keep the 1 there or just take 1 off. So when I get back down to 4, then I got to start adding them again. Let me think on that and come back to you. In this scenario, it don't really specifically say to stop counting after you kill the 4, or you don't have to keep adding them for your progress, or deprogress. I guess that's a word, I don't know. But in any case, in a total there's 8 of them that I killed. So what I did is I decided that instead of bringing me up that I have to kill one more scavenger to go back down, is I just took 1 off the total count, so I have 7 left. To, you know, I got 7 that I killed instead of 8 that I killed, if that makes sense. So anyhow, that's the way I'm doing it. I made an executive house rule decision. So if this is wrong, please comment down below if you played Lobotomy and you played this scenario, which is the Asylum Field Day, just to let everybody know. I already said it into the intro and everything, but just to refresh everybody's memory that it's Asylum Field Day. So again, I'm doing it this way, so it's 7 I killed so far. So we're going to continue on with the game. It is Ridley's turn, and she is 2 spaces away from the mental patient. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do for Ridley is I'm going to use this here card. It's an attack card. It's 6 dice. It has a range of 2. That's what this target icon means. It's a range attack, so it's 2. And it also has frost. Now, I've never used frost in the game yet. I use fire but not frost, so that is what I'm going to use, and I'm going to explain that in a second. Attack each monster in range and line of sight. So you have to be able to draw a straight line between you and the monsters. You can't like go around corners or so forth. Now also because this is generic, it says your hit becomes a 5 for this attack. But if you look, Ridley already has a 5. So that's not going to affect her. And also recover 1 wound after the attack. But Ridley is at full health. She's been really lucky this whole game. But she had 3 wounds, but because of the drugs that she had, she took it and, you know, she was able to do that. And she still has a card in her hand right here, which is flaxetine, I guess it's called. Floxetine? Who knows? But she gets a +1, or 1 extra action point if she wants to use it, and she can use it twice. So, anyhow, Ridley is going to use the attack, this one here, hydrophobia. And she is going to attack the mental patient and see if she gets frost on him. Just to explain what the frost means, so this is a frost token. So whenever you or a monster attacks and have the ability for frost, what happens is if you successfully get 1 hit through, you're going to place 1 of these tokens on the person that you're attacking or monster you're attacking. And what that means is on the next turn of the monster character, they have to spend 1 action point to remove this frost token. So if I attack a monster that only has 1 action point, they can't do anything except spend this to get rid of it, which can be a big benefit. Or it could work against the character too as well. And also too as well, what it says in the instructions is, on top of that, it's -1 dice for an attack when they're attacking. That is monster or character, it don't matter, so they're -1. So that's how the frost works. From where she's using hydrophobia, let's place this, because this is your cooldown track. She can't use this anymore for 5 turns. And also she got the 6 dice, and I got my frost token standing by, and it's a range of 2. So get these other dice out of the way here. Move dice. Okay, come on. That's it. Attack this mental patient. He's got a defensive 1, remember, so as long as 1 goes through, he gets frostbite. And she has to get 5 or higher. That's not good. She got 1 hit right here. That's all she got with that roll. So, because of that, and the mental patient has 1 shield, it's an unsuccessful hit. So because she was unsuccessful in hitting, she don't get to give him frostbite. That sucks because I wanted to use frostbite. Anyhow, Too bad. So sad. That's one action point that Ridley uses now. She also has 3 left. From where Ridley was unsuccessful in trying to use hydrophobia to frostbite this mental patient, she was here and she moved 2 more action points. So that was 1, the attack, 2, 3, and now she's going to try to attack him, and she's attacking with the crowbar. So, just to recap, I didn't get it on camera though, but she used previously her mother's rage a couple of turns ago, so she can't use that anymore. So she's going to use her crowbar just as it is. She got 3 hits onto it. She got 3 more, and we all know what happens if she's going to get another durability. But in any case, 5 dice. She's got to get 5s or higher to hit this mental patient. That's 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 successes. And the mental patient has 1 defense and 4 wounds. So, and you notice there too as well, I rolled a 1. So automatically, first off, I had to take one of my blue tokens, which is right here, and put it on for durability, so the crowbar is weakened a little bit more. So 1 defense from the mental patient. So 2 hits were successful. So the mental patient gets 2 wounds, and it goes down to 2 more wounds left on him. On Arnie Connor's turn, he killed the scavenger that was in front of him with 1 of his action points. So now there's 2 mental patients right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Arnie Connor up 1 so he's in front of the door for a second action point. You can still draw a straight line and go and hit them mental patients, but Arnie Connor, as you can see, only has 2 action points. So what he's going to do, he's going to lose 1 wound to gain 1 more action point, because I have a plan here for Arnie Connor. So he takes his extra wound right there, and you can also see he's still got 1 insanity there. And now he is going to do an attack. And the attack that Arnie Connor is going to use is going to be this one. Chop chop. But he's going to do the area effect attack. You can see what that symbol means. And 4 dice, he's got to roll for each enemy critical strike. So if I roll a 6, it can potentially give 2 wounds, but both of the mental patients has 1 shield, so I got to make sure I get enough hits. But Arnie Connor only got to roll 3, so let's see what happens. Hopefully, he's going to destroy the both of them with his area attack for chop chop. I've decided before Arnie does his move, he's going to spend 1 more insanity on his insanity track. So he's in the brain now. He was medulla oblongata, and now he's kind of in the back of the brain. Oh, his memories may get affected. To add the 1 chaos dice to it, so it's 5 now. But that 1 chaos dice can actually equal 3 hits. So let's see. Come on, Arnie, you can do this. Oh, that was a really, really bad roll. Arnie, what are you doing? You only had to get 3 or higher. So that's 2 hits anyhow. That's 2 successes. He did hit twice. But you know what? I have to roll per insane mental patient, I should say. So because of this, 1 mental patient takes 1 hit, and then I got to roll again for the next one. So maybe for this one, it'll be a little better. So I had to keep track of this. So 1 hit so far. Come on, you can do this, Arnie. It's not the tumor. Oh, look at this. And I get 3 or higher. So that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. So because that 1 mental patient is dead and 1 mental patient takes 1 point of damage. Not too bad, Arnie. I'll keep you around for now. Brings us to Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith's turn. He got 4 action points, so obviously he's going there for 1, picking it up for 2, so that's going to give me an extra notch for the memory, and he gets a memory. Hopefully it's going to be good, but not a bad one. Before I look at the memory card, I'm scratching off another 1 for memory token, so only 1 left, and we only get 2 more locker tokens for this. Our items in lockers. Not 2 more lockers, but 2 items in a locker. So we're close. We may actually win. I hope we win. I really hope. All right, Bernard. Mr. Smith. Bernard Smith. Let's see if you gain some memories or lose some memories, because that's really bad. And it has his name, so it might be good. So this states, in my book of lies, I am the editor and the author. I forged my signature. Hidden blade, skills, permanent casting. Ooh, so this is a permanent skill. You don't lose. That's nice. Reroll all ones results when attacking with the non-ranged weapon. Oh, this is really good because I have a tendency to roll ones a lot. I don't know why, but I do. But that's a good memory. So he gains some skills from remembering something. Like, look at him. He's been through the mill. Like, he's been beat up and he just keeps going. And this is going to help him. Good job, Bernie. Good job. On the monster turn for this round, I moved all the monsters. Now, you can see this monster was here attacking Ridley. Now, the mental patient has 1 wound already, but the mental patient took an attack at Ridley. So when it took an attack, it gets 5 dice and it has to get 5 or higher. It rolled 2 successes. But Ridley here had defensive 1, so only 1 went through, so she takes a wound. So that's what happened for that after. And then when I just drew the movement card, it's really bad. Really bad. I'm in trouble. Sorry about that, folks. My camera battery died, so actually it was dying, so I had to stop the video and switch it. So, like I said, I drew the movement card, and it's really bad because what I got, there's no event, but you can see right here, camera get in focus, come on. The red surge star, and also memory, and then the warden's gonna move one, so that's bad. This is really bad too as well. The red surge token means that for this turn coming up, I can't do any progress. So I can move, I can attack, and I can do searches, but it don't count to my progress. And you can see that Mr. Smith is so close there to the filing cabinet. Arnie's caught in combat. Ridley's caught in combat. But she's close to a filing cabinet too as well. So it's kind of hanging on him that he could end the game, possibly. But because I drew this rotten card right here, I can't do that. So it's going to be the next turn. Hopefully I might be able to beat the game. But anyhow, let's go through this so don't event. That happens, I got to roll for the memory token. We already know how we do that. We got to move this up and we got to spawn a mental patient and a nurse. So stand by, we'll do that. I'm back. So I moved the warden from 8 to 9. The memory token ended up being there. And the nurse went to zone 4, or quarter 4, and zone 7. And the mental patient went to, again, quarter 4 and zone 5. Right by here and there. So I'm going to move my characters around. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I have to actually fight with Ridley first to clear this mental patient, if she can. And then she's going to be beelining it that way. But she can't pick up any of this stuff until next round. Same with Mr. Smith here. So, oh boy. This is nail biting right now because the warden's getting closer and we're getting closer to completing the objective. What's going to happen? Who's going to win in this game of lobotomy? I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to watch and find out. On Ridley's turn, what she's going to do here is she's going to use her mother's rage. Now, it was at 1, but because it was the monster's turn, then it could take it off. So her cooldown is complete, so she can reuse mother's rage, which is really good. Actually, also, I forgot to put this down. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, if you're noticing that any of these counters that I'm putting on the cards, they seem to be reduced a little quicker. The reason why this is reduced is every time you kill a monster, you automatically drop the cooldown by 1 on one of the weapons. So this is really good. So again, every time you kill a monster, you drop the cooldown track by 1. And every time you go through a monster round, your cooldown track gets dropped down by 1 too as well. But anyhow, back to what Ridley's doing. Mother's Rage. So +1 to attack rolls, gains the fire, and an extra die. And that goes towards her crowbar. So 5 turns to 6. And it reduces the defense by 1. That's what the fire is for, so in case you forgot. So she's going to use this. But because she's using this, I gotta swing over here and grab another one of these. And put it back there. So she's back up to 4 for this. So there we go. So one thing I think what Ridley's going to do, because, you know what, yeah, why not? I'm going to use an Insanity on the Insanity track too as well to give me the Chaos Dice, because I want to try to put an end to this and start moving very quickly on this. There you see, you got a counter onto the Insanity track, and I got the Chaos Dice in my hand to play. Now, in the instructions, I want to specifically say this because I wasn't sure about this. I thought that characters start the game on number 1, which is by the medulla oblongata. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. In any case, but it specifically says in the instructions you start off with nothing on the Insanity track, and then when you start using it, it goes to this. Now, there's other ways that you can use Insanity, which I will briefly go over now, because I don't know if I'm going to use any more ways of Insanity into this game. So just hang on, I will read the blurb and explain it a little bit more. In the revised rules edition, there's a page specifically on Insanity. It's on page 22 if anybody is wondering. So there's many ways you can use the Insanity track. Now, during the game, you can do tests to see if you're going to lose Insanity or gain Insanity. Though, aside from that, you can use it to your benefit too as well. So we already know about the Chaos Dice because I'm using it now, plus I used it previously. There's also Imaginary Locker. So in a 3-character game, which is a solo mission or using only 3 characters, you can't use Imaginary Locker because it only works, on here it says, if you start proceeding to space B1 with the warden. So if we chose to do 2 scenarios and the warden got from A12, instead of going to the pentagram in the center of the board, it would go to B1 and continue on where the next scenario would start. And what the Imaginary Locker, I can't even talk, jeez. You can place one of your Insanity on the Insanity track, and then you can only you can search that Imaginary Locker to gain some stuff, so that can help you out. Now, and we also talked about the defense dice for the Chaos Dice, and that's on the monster's turn. So when the monster declares it's going to attack you, before it makes an attack, you can boost your Insanity by putting it up 1 onto the Insanity track and use the defense Chaos Dice so that it helps you for adding more defense. That's another way you can use your Insanity. Another way too as well is Tantrum. This Tantrum is pretty cool. It's like creating noise if you ever played Zombicide. So what it is so that you can throw a tantrum by increasing your Insanity track up 1 more too as well, and creating noise so that all of the monsters on their movement will move towards you and forget about other characters. So if any of your other characters have low health and are going to die, or you just want to get them away from the other character, you can throw a tantrum by using your Insanity. That's pretty cool. So also too as well, Insanity penalties. So when you reach the Insanity track, you can see here number 7 is 1 CD and 8 is 2 CD. CD stands for cooldown. So if you can recall onto some of your abilities, I'm just going to swing the camera over so you can see. You have to highlight it right here, which is your cooldown track, and then you have the darker ones, which is 7 and 6. But again, other ones have 6-5, 6-5, 8-7. But in any case, this is what the cooldown track is. It's kind of highly reflective there. There, that's a little better. So when you reach onto your Insanity track, which is either the 5 or the 6 on this one. Again, every character is different for the amount of sanity. This says 4 and 5. You're going to have to start using these for the cooldown track, so it's going to take extra long for your abilities to cool down before you can use them again. And that's what the insanity track is used for in all of them circumstances. Let's go on with the game. So where we left off is Ridley's turn, and she's using her mother's rage with the crowbar, and she's pushing the insanity by 1 to get the chaos dice. So 5 dice goes to 6. She gets a +1 to all attack rolls and gains the fire. So let's see what happens. So the defense of, she's fighting the mental patient, has a defense of 1, but because of attacking with fire, defense is going down to 0. So let's see what we got here. And Ridley has to get 5+. So that's 1 hit, 2 hits right here, but because you increase all your dice rolls by 1, so this 4 is going to go to 5, so that's another hit. So that's 3 successful hits, and because we hit and we use the fire, the defense for that mental patient is 0. The mental patient has a wound max of 4, but already has taken 2 wounds, so because of that, that mental patient is bye-bye. Because Ridley killed it. Good job, Ridley. One thing I forgot to mention too about Ridley's attack where she used the mother's rage. Normally the crowbar would take another damage, but because you increase all attacks by 1, that would go to a 2. These 2s will go to 3s. So therefore there's no 1, so she would not take any damage to her crowbar. Ridley is continuing her onslaught because she was at number 11. She moved up for another action point, so that's 2 action points out of 4 that she used. And for her third, she's going to try to kill this scavenger too as well. Before Ridley goes any further, because she moved, that was 2, and for the third she's going to fight, that would be 3. She's also going to use her med. Whoops, and she can use it twice to give her 1 extra action point. So she's going to attack this guy twice if she has to now. She's using the crowbar, so she gets 5 dice. Whoop, she got to roll 5s or higher. Let's see what she's going to hit him or not. Come on. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's good and bad at the same time. Whoop. So 3 successes. He has no defense, so he takes 3 wounds, but you can also see I rolled 2 1s. So that's unfortunate because that means because I rolled 2 1s, I get 2 extra durability damage. So because of that, that weapon is destroyed now. It is broken. It can't be used anymore. So that crowbar goes bye-bye. But 3 hits, and scavenger only has 3 wounds, so this scavenger goes goodbye. So therefore, Ridley kills him, but loses a crowbar in the process. It's okay. It's okay, Ridley. You got your fists. From where I gave Ridley 1 extra action point by using her Floxtine or Floxtine, I don't know. Anyhow, she used the meds. So because of that, she is going there. But she can't pick it up. Because even if you wanted to pick it up, because we drew that red star surge, oh, anything just don't count towards it. So even that kills that I didn't count towards it, which sucks. So anyhow, that is Ridley's turn. We are on to Bernard, all the way over there. Let's rewind that. It is not Bernard's turn. So Ridley finished. Now it is on to Arnie Connor's turn, which is all the way over there. Hi Arnie, how you doing? Kill that mental patient. Just destroy him. Terminate him. That's what he's going to terminate him. Arnie's going to use a talk to the hand. 3 dice. You know, has to roll 3s. And that mental patient has 1 wound, as you can see already. So, come on. You can do this. You can do this, Arnie. I believe in you. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Rolls 2 1s. So, first off, let's resolve the durability thing. I'm going off camera a little bit because I'm reaching for them as I'm recording. So it has 6 onto it. This is the first time I actually rolled 1s for this, for talk to the hand. So down to 4 durability, but the mental patient has 1 defense, so that defense is gone. And it's 3 hits, and the mental patient has 4 wounds. Has 1 wound already, so therefore that mental patient is gone. But it can't count towards total kills. But Arnie still destroyed it. He terminated that mental patient. That was 1 action point. So Arnie has 1 more action point. So he is going to move a space. Off camera again. Not paying attention. Get a hold of yourself. Okay, Arnie moves 1 up 1 for a 2nd action point. So I'm thinking I'm going to push Slim with Arnie. Well, it's not called push Slim. I'm thinking I'm playing X-Wing here. But anyhow, his special ability, lose 1 wound to gain 1 action point. So he's already got 2 wounds, but he's a tank. He can take 11. So I'm going to take another wound. And I'm going to push him so that he goes right there. So the next turn he's going to be able to do that filing cabinet and count towards the objectives. So we're looking pretty good so far. This is really kind of good and bad at the same time, because right now the warden's at 9, 10, 11, 12, and then pentagram, end of game. So hopefully we will not get the end of game. We'll actually beat this. Coming down to the wire, that's for sure. So it is on now to... I'm correct this time. It's Bernard's turn. So all Bernard's going to do is he is going to go up for 2 action points, and he's going to go right there. But he can't do anything else because he can do it, but he won't get any objectives. So that's the end of the hero phase, or character phase, whatever way you want to call it. They're heroes in my mind, they're mental patients in your mind, they're crazy heroes. How's that? I like it. I like it a lot. See, it's my Maniac side coming out. So it's the monster's turn. I'm going to do the monster turn, I'll come back to you. I'm back. Did you miss me? I know you did. I think the viewers missed me too. I was talking to the warden, if you really want to know, but the viewers too as well, obviously. So anyhow, I did the monster movement, every of them move. Now, you can see on the board, they're all moved around. Now, the only thing is this scavenger has moved into the door. He was here, and he's got 2 action points, so 1, 2. So he's standing on the objective that she wants. But also, she's going to be able to grab that memory token too as well. Hopefully, it's not going to be a bad memory token, because that'll screw us over really bad. After that, I do the movement card, and BAM! That's what it was. So the movement card again, can't run, can't hide. Monsters gain +1 movement. So I had to move all the monsters. That means that the scavenger is going to right on Ridley. So she's going to have to fight him. The warden moved up. He's right there. Actually, I did move all the monsters except for this one off camera, because I wanted to show you that, so I'm going to move him. And I also spawned the scavenger, which is right here, and the mental patient. Not her, not the nursey poo, because we're only playing a 3-player game, remember. So anyhow, that goes there. I'm going to move him where he's supposed to be to attack Ridley. Luckily though, he didn't move there on his turn, because then he would have been able to have a free attack there. So that's it for the monster's turn. Now, this is the turn that's going to count to see if we actually beat the game or not, because it is getting very close. The warden's getting closer. He's only pretty much 3 spaces away from ending the game for us. So I know before I said that depending on how long the video is, I might continue it for the harder level where the warden comes out and we have to fight the warden to the death. But I think this video is going to be very long. I could be wrong, it may not be that long, but we're going to end it so that if the warden hits the pentagram before we get the rest of our objectives, the game is over and we get lobotomized. Plain and simple. Very horrible, but plain and simple. So it's on to Ridley's turn. The first thing Ridley's going to do, it's going to cost 1 action point, which is right here. It's called Lucky, Lucky, Lucky Stars. It's utility. Choose a monster in at least up to, well, don't say at least, but range 2. So you can up to range 2. It loses 1 wound, ignore defenses, and you recover 1. So Ridley is going to recover 1 wound. And this scavenger, it ignores defense. Whoops. Actually, I used the wrong one. So I'll put that one there where it's supposed to go. I take the wound off of Ridley, which I planned on doing before, but I kind of get mixed up. And the scavenger gets a wound right there. So scavenger's already starting off down 1 wound. So that means 2 more wounds and that scavenger is dead. So that is the first action point for Ridley. So the next thing she is going to do is she's going to attack. But if you notice, Ridley got no weapons. So you know how she's going to attack? Now this is going to be a tough one because it's a +5 for her to attack, but she has no choice but to try to punch that monster in the head with 3 dice, and she has to get a 5 or higher to succeed. Okay, Ridley baby, just think it's an alien and you can destroy it. Ooh, 1 hit. And that scavenger don't have any defense. So because it's 1 hit, Ridley takes a whack at it and punches it and hurts it. So it's down to another wound, so it only has 1 wound left. For Ridley's third action point, she's going to try to punch him in the face again. Just again, Ridley, keep thinking it's an alien. You can do it. 5+, baby. That don't give a 5+. So that's 3 action points gone. And now for the last action point, because she has 4. Ooh. Let's see this first. So 4 action points right here. That one there is cocked. I gotta roll it again. So far, no successes. Ah! 1 more hit. Good job, Ridley. So Ridley, kablamo, punches that scavenger in the face. She's able to count that scavenger for a hit. So that scavenger is gone, and she leaves an empty space. So she don't have any more action points so to pick up that memory token. But Ridley's taking her last part of her medication, because it has 2 uses, to give her 1 extra action point, which means Ridley can freely pick up that and pick up a memory card, and hopefully it's not going to be a bad one. Before she does that, she completes the objective for memory tokens. So it's only 2 more items to find in lockers, and then we're going to win the game. Hopefully win the game. Please let us win the game. Alright, Ridley. Let's see if you regain a memory or lose memories. I'm kind of nervous to flip this over. Oh, it's not a good one. It's a memory strip. Usually that's bad. So let's read this memory strip out loud. Your childhood friend sits in the hallway waiting to meet you. His smile fades as you approach. What have they done to you? He looks around to see if you are alone. Then puts his arms around you. Let me help, he whispers, while constricting you harder. You struggle to take a breath. Soon you will be free. So obviously it sounds like a bad one. So I gotta roll my imagination test, which 2 dice, and it has to be equal or lower than the imagination rating. If I fail, I lose 1 sanity. Huh. Alright, let's do an imagination test for this, see what happens. Ridley got an imagination of 7, so 7 or lower, baby. You can do this. 4 and 5, you could do it. That's bad. Well, not really too bad, because she was at 1 with insanity. She goes up 1 more for insane. So she's getting a little crazier. Well, she thinks aliens abducted her, so yeah, she's a little crazy. That's for sure. It is time. 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 It's not a tumor. Really bad impersonation. Now it's Ernie's turn for 1 action point. He's going to do the locker thing right here. So let's flip it over. Let's see if he can get anything. It's not too bad. He's got a 3, 4, and a 4. So if he gets 2 of them, that just means we win the game. So let's hopefully see if Ernie can pull this off for the search test. His imagination rating is 5, so you get 5 dice. He's going to roll, and remember, 4 5s or 6s are successes. So there's 1, 2 successes. But as you can see, he has to get at least 3 successes to pick up 1. So that failed, but he has 1 more action point to try. So he's going to try again, and hopefully Ernie will pull this off. Come on, Ernie. You can do this. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. So a success and a success. So failed again, but what I'm going to do with poor Ernie there is he's going to take another wound because we're getting so close to the end of the game. For the special ability to give him more action points. So let's see if Ernie can pull this thing off. Come on. At least get 3 successes here. 3 successes. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's really good. So he's got 4 successes. So he can take pretty much any one of those that he wants. Should I take a weapon or equipment or meds? I'm gonna take a med. Why not? Ernie's gonna take a med. Steroids? No, I'm joking. Gain stealth for this round. Ooh, so I don't know what stealth is. We have to look that up. Stealth, what stealth is for gain stealth for this round. So pretty much you can leave a space with a monster onto it. That is what stealth is. So that's an Ernie gain for searching. So this locker token is gone and we get a tick off of there. When I say tick off of there, that just means that 1 more of the items in the locker is gone. So that's all we need to win the game. Oh. Okay, Mr. Smith. It is up to you to win the game. If you were successful in searching this locker and you get 1 item, you win the game because of you. It is up to you. No pressure, but it's up to you. So for 1 action point, he's flipping it over. So at least we got a low rating here. So we have to do a search test and see if we get any successes. Okay, my palms are sweating, my face is sweating, and I'm getting shaky. I'm so nervous. Oh. So he has an imagination of 6. So that's 6 dice. And remember, 4, 5s, and 6s are successful. So that's 1 success. 2 successes. But. On top of that, he has one of these memory things, and this memory thing it's a good one. It's been there, done that. I think it is. Oh, gain free success for every locker searching and door opening test. So again, he pretty much got 3 successes. So do you know what that means, everybody? 3 successes. So he's able to get the meds. And because he was able to get the meds, I'm not even pulling it up because that is the last item in the locker search. And we all know what that means for sure. That means that we have just won the scenario Asylum Field Day from Lobotomy by Titan Forge Games. We beat the game, and you are the loser, Warden. Loser! So pretty much what that means, simplify, sum it up, is the three of us did not die. We were successful in finding the exit out of the mental hospital and escaped before they caught us and lobotomized us. Or is this all a dream and we've all been lobotomized? I just don't know. I just don't know. Oh, what am I gonna do? Well, there you have it, Board Game Maniacs. A full, kind of somewhat tutorial first gameplay video for the game Lobotomy by Titan Forge. It's rated 14 plus, and as you can see from some of the cards that we pulled, it definitely has a 14 plus rating. My final thoughts on this game. It was a great game. I'll definitely be playing this again with different scenarios and playing with other Board Game Maniacs for sure. I've said it before, I want to paint these miniatures because the miniatures, I love the look of them. I just have so much painting projects that I'm doing at the moment, but I will get to them, and I will play another scenario with the painted miniatures for sure. So again, this was Asylum Field Day. It was one of the scenarios in the book. I played with the revised rule set. Very exhausted because it was a lot of trying to, you know, maneuver around, because this was a hard scenario. It's even for the beginner level with the three characters. I did have some problems with it, I have to say. The problems that I did have with it was doing research, having to do research online to find out that there's different rule set. That is one of my main irks about this game, because the other rules, I didn't really compare the rule set too much, because again, this is my third game, my first solo game. I played with other Board Game Maniacs. We played it was a lot of fun. So even though like a rating out of 10, I would give it a good solid 8 out of 10 for sure, because it is very, very fun. The replayability is definitely there. You can play different scenarios. You can probably make up your own scenarios too as well. They do have a scenario about the clown, so I don't know how hard that is, but I'm going to want to play that. I am going to play it because I love scary clowns. Nobody knew that watches our channel, Board Game Maniacs. So anyhow, so yeah, the main irk that I had is again because of the revised rule set. Now there's a couple of things that you really had to read the wording specifically so that you could apply it and make the game work. Now obviously there's a lot more different rules and a lot more different things you can do in this game, but because of the scenario that I played and what I came across, I didn't play them all. So again, if you're thinking about buying this game, again, I give it, I keep saying it again, I give this a solid 8 out of 10 for sure. I would buy this game. I'm gonna play it again. It's a lot of fun. You can tell I'm a little bit tired because this game lasts a little bit long and I use a lot of brain power to look up the rules and play it. But now, since I got this set up down pat, it's not gonna take too long. I got pretty much the core rule set in my noggin right now, so that's not going to give me a lot of problems. I'm going to be looking up the rules a bit more too as well. So I'm going to play more of this, and I'm also going to play From the Deep, which is the expansion. I'm going to see how different that is. I also got the revised scenario set for From the Deep too as well, which I found all of this on Board Game Geek. I think that's what it's called. BGG. It's a website. Look up Board Game Geek. You'll find it. Go. You can search, like I said, for Lobotomy. You'll find the revised rules you can print off. You can even print off like little images of lockers. So if you want to bring this to more of a three-dimensional, something simple, you can print off the lockers like this. They don't look like this. There's paper, but it turns it 3D so that you can put them together and you can paint them and everything. So that's pretty cool. What else can I say about this game besides it was a hell of a lot of fun? very challenging. I still don't know how I pulled it off, to be honest. I thought I was done because it looked very bleak for a while. I like the mechanics about that you can only use the weapons for so many times before they're destroyed, and that's by rolling the 1 you take a durability hit onto it. Another thing that I thought was really cool is your special abilities, that you can use them but then you have to cool them down before you can use them again. So it added that little more interesting rule set into it. And again, with the doors too as well, you discover a door. Now, one thing I didn't do in this is I never locked or trapped the monster inside of a room. So I did mention on video, but just so I can reiterate that a little bit, so that when you have a character that discovers a room and a monster is inside that room, you can discover it, flip it over, and there's a barricade or a lock. And you don't have to proceed to try to open it if you don't want to. You can leave it locked so you can keep that monster trapped inside, because once the door is discovered, the monster can't travel through it unless there's no door there anymore. But again, there's also the ethereal, which means if you have a monster that is ethereal, then it can pass through walls, but it can't attack through walls, which is, you know, a good benefit, but it sucks that they can pass through walls too as well. The other 2 scenarios that I played was the Lesbian Vampires, I think it's called. It was really fun, that one too as well. I played that with a couple other Board Game Maniacs. And the other one that I played too as well, like I can't even remember the name of it right now, kind of slipped my mind. I am tired because my brain is hurting from playing this game, but my heart is full because of all the enjoyment. So, lots of fun, but it made me angry at parts. But that's what board games are for. It's to challenge you, to make your brain work more. And obviously to enjoy with other people too as well. But this has the opportunity so you can play solo missions for. Great. So, if you like this video, show me some love. Give me some thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel, Board Game Maniacs. And, you know, if you have any questions, put the comments down below. Or even email us at boardgamemaniacs@gmail.com. All small letters, lowercase, all one word, @gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook for Board Game Maniacs. And you can find us on Instagram for Board Game Maniacs too as well. It's not all about the gameplay. It's also, I have little photos and stuff about painting the miniatures. Even though I'm not a professional painter, I do enjoy painting the miniatures. And I'm taking a whole bunch of different projects undergo as we speak. If you notice, I did play some bolt action too as well from Warlord Games. I was lucky enough that Warlord Games gave me a Band of Brothers and asked me to, you know, like, hey, sink your teeth in this and play. So if you've never seen that video, go and watch it because it's a lot of fun. That was a definite nail biter for sure. I'm going to be doing some other Warlord Games games too as well, like tabletop skirmish games, and a whole series I have planned. And I'm also going to be playing more board games for sure. I'm never ever going to stop playing board games because I love playing board games. That is where my heart is. And also tabletop games now too as well, because I started playing bolt action. And yeah, anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. I apologize if it's a bit long, but again, I had to go over the rules, I had to stop, read the rules, and explain the rules on camera, so that's what added to the length. So the other lobotomy games that we play, hopefully it's not going to be as long unless I come across some new rules I never talked about in this video, and then I'll explain more. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, because I certainly enjoyed playing this game, Lobotomy by Titan Forge Games. So until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Play some board games, play some VR, talk to people about it, play some games in person with other people to communicate. Communication is really, really important. But most importantly at all, and you know this, I'm going to say this because I am one and I want you to be one too as well. When you're playing games anyhow, and you do it safely, of course. And that is, be a maniac.